Hello and welcome back to BUSR. It's round 4 of the Spring Championship in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I'm back in the box. It's Michael Yap on commentary, and joining alongside me in the virtual commentary box is Max Grime. How are we doing tonight, Max?
I'm good, Michael. Pleased to have you back. Pleased to see you around. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Kyalami is one of my favourites, so yeah, it should be a good one.
I have to say, Kyalami's always been a favourite amongst many people. It's one of those tracks that's got a bit of everything. I particularly like the long dive downhill into Mineshaft, but we've had some races here in the past. I've driven alongside you, and some interesting moments for sure.
Yeah, certainly had my own interesting moment down into crocodiles just after it. I think it was one of the biggest crashes we may have seen
I
in
think that's
BUSR.
I was wondering how long it would take for that to come up, but there we go.
Well,
In the first minute of the broadcast, I'm sure, I'm sure everyone involved is happy with the mention of that. I've had some of my own interesting moments. We've had some fun times into Leocop at the top of the hill. That hairpin, brilliant place if you want to cut back, by the way. And Cheetah, which I think the drivers are knowing is the funny corner.
mm,
Don't try and cut the inside. Is what I've figured out from the few times I've gone around here.
yeah, certainly. And I think we've also had one of our best overtakes that we've seen, which was Harry Spears on Alexa Gates a few seasons ago. So but yeah, there's plenty of action around the circuit, and I think we can probably see that action in the Simhound track guide for this week. Welcome to Kyalami for round 4 of our GT3 Spring Championship, and with it our 4th Simhound track guide. As you come out of the last corner, it's important to get a good exit to set up this long main straight as we head down to turn 1. Heading down the hill, the track becomes very wide, so expect to see some action here throughout the race. There are many lines for turn 1, but here you are braking at the 100 metre board and pointing the car towards the apex. The corner is off camber, so be sure to hug the apex to get the car turned in. Keep it flat through the sweep to set up for turn 5. Brake early to carry speed throughout the corner to set you up for a run down to sunset. If you get 5 right, you can make a relatively easy overtake into the fast right-hander. Brake and turn in late, down to 3rd, trying to get the car into the apex, and then let the car breathe and use all the track and more on the exit. For turn 7, brake just after the 50 metre board down to 2nd or 1st, taking a later apex again to carry speed through the corner. For the S's, brake around the start of the red and white curb on the right and you're aiming to clip that inside curb. Take too much and you'll be spat out for the right-hander and ruin your run up to the hairpin at the top of the circuit. Use the advertising boards and the curb on the right as a reference, braking around the 100 metre mark. Get the car pretty much stopped to hug the apex to give yourself time all the way down the hill throughout Mineshaft. Hug the inside through Mineshaft to set yourself up for crocodiles, using the grass on the right as a reference for the braking point. Take an early apex and a lot of curb, then use all the track on the exit. Keep to the left to open up Cheetah, and get as close to that inside curb as you dare. Into the last corner, brake at the 50 metre board and get the car straightened up as soon as possible to give yourself a good run to the line. I was a little early there, but if you get it right you can gain a lot of time. And that was a lap of Kyalami.
Well, that was a fantastic lap round Kyalami. Very focused face there from Max
Yeah,
as we
thanks.
went round. I have to say, I'm particularly happy with the opening shot. Not for any particular reason, but as you can see, a fun circuit. Lots of elevation change. Everybody loves elevation change, and every circuit seems to be uh, as a circuit designer, an easy way to get through it. Anyway, let's have a closer look at that circuit now as we have the cars going round. First out, here we go. Looks like Harry Spears leading the way out the pits as we go through what I'm going to call turn 1 several times, no doubt, even though it is in fact turn 2.
Yeah, so there's the slight kink on the straight, which you would have seen on the Simhound track guide. That is technically turn 1, but I mean, I know in my own track guide there, I was referring to the hairpin at the end of the straight as that turn 1. But yeah, because that kink is not really. It's a bit of nothing, isn't it? Especially for these cars at this level.
Yeah, I mean, even on the track map, it doesn't really look like much of a turn, to be honest. So now, near the top of the track, elevation-wise, you're going to get to Leocop? I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the thing. There are corner names. I am going to alternate between them because sometimes I'll just forget and just go with the number. But as we go to Leocop now, it's the top of the hill, turn 10 and 11, and then a massive dive downhill. You're going to get some brilliant action shots down here, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's certainly a place that promotes overtaking. There's lots of different lines you can take, as there's a lot of the places on this track. And yeah, I think we'll see some runs coming out of that hairpin as we head down into the tricky final sector.
Yeah, it's always good to have a nice technical end to the lap. It forces drivers to keep on their toes right to the end as Harry Spears taking a very liberal view of track limits. I'm a big fan of liberal interpretations of track limits there, as he goes right out to get the good run on what will be the first time lap of this session.
Yeah, he's setting up for that first time lapse as he comes down this long straight. It's one of the longest in the game, at least it feels like, and you'll see him braking around the 100-meter board slightly later than I am, but that's why he's one of the best and I'm not. But yeah, using all the track there as he then goes up through the S's, trying to open up this turn 5 corner as they head down towards Sunset.
Yeah, that first sequence of corners can get very crowded though. Once when you're on your own, it's all well and good. But I know when I last raced here in an old endurance series we did, I got out of turns, 2, 3, and 4 rather well. But looking back, it can get very crowded. There's a little yellow curve on the inside of 4, and things can get really hairy really quickly as we go into the S's.
Yeah, lap 1 will certainly be interesting. There's a lot of high curbs around here, so you may see some of the newer drivers think that they can take a bit more curb on that first lap, but then get spat back out into the traffic, and that could promote some issues in that first lap. But we'll have to wait and see. They've been pretty clean so far in the season, I have to say. But yeah, we'll see whether that continues here today as Harry Spears heads down into this final sector that we were talking about.
Yeah, into the crocodiles here. The track widening on the exit, often giving you a little bit of false sense of security. If you try and pin the throttle, you can often find yourself in that runoff. And speaking of curbs, there's the one on the inside there at Cheetah. That's a mean one. So last time I ran over that, it spat me out wide and then back in. And I would have been fine. Didn't actually hit the barrier had it not been for the fact that it was lap 1 and everyone was right behind me. So and it's blind as well on the entry. So it's going to be. I hope nothing comes of it. But blind corner and a curb that can easily spin your car out is always going to be a little bit interesting. Now we're going to go to Jimmy Lynn, back with the McLaren here. Bit of a cluster of cars forming, sort of still one train, but you've got some guys down heading into Mineshaft now, sort of separated from that main pack of cars, if you like. Looking at the times coming in, Harry Spears currently 8/10 up on Jack Miller on those first. They're essentially just extra practice laps. I wouldn't put too much pay to the pace right at the beginning of the session. The track will tend to get a bit faster. The drivers get their eye in as we go towards the rest of the session.
Yeah, and you say that, but if I was looking at that Harry Spears time of a 40.7, I'd be concerned if I was the rest of the pack. You see Jack Noller there, who's 8/10 down. Hopefully, we'll see him warm up as the session goes on. But yeah, an excellent marker there by Harry Spears on his first lap.
An excellent marker indeed, as Jack Noller brings that McLaren for Williams Esports right round over the curbs, taking as much as he can. Nice opening up the corners. The S's are always very fun as well. Some side-by-side action there. Can be terrifying, but also very fun indeed as we continue to follow what is one of the 2 championship protagonists in this series so far. Bit of a back and forth, as I understand it.
Yeah, we've seen the 2 of them, trading results throughout. Last time out, we had Angus Fender attend the race, which unfortunately we haven't been able to see him at most of the rounds. But him taking the victory with Harry and Jack following behind, Jack getting that second place. It may come down to that at the end of this championship because Jack getting the better of the 2 results, but still not as big a points gap between second and third as there is between first and second. As we see someone ahead of Jack go a little bit wide there, that might have put him off, but he seems to have done okay as he heads around the final corner to finish this lap. Will it be faster than his previous attempt? Yes, it is by about 1/10 of a second, but still a long way to go to Harry Spears up in front.
About a tenth indeed, but still some time to be gained as we see occasional yellow flags around the circuit, but they do get cleared quickly enough as Cab Bud goes around in the M4, obviously new for this season. Round down the back straight now, so that was barbecue. So currently in P3, pretty good stuff so far. 9 minutes to go in qualifying, so still more to come. Three drivers in the pits at the moment. We'll be seeing them come out soon, no doubt. As so far, the only driver not to set a time on the board is Umar Faruqi in the number 30 McLaren.
Yeah, it's interesting. They look like they're taking a bit of a slower start to this session, but seem to be going full chat now. May have just been going off track a little bit, just pushing those track limits. There are a few places where you need to be pushing it, but a little too much as we see them. Do they keep it within the lines? They're just about there, and that you can use all the curb because you don't want to be on the grass here. So, oh, and a
Oh,
lot
not
of that
that much
inside
though.
curb. Yeah, we don't want to be touching that at all. He's lucky he didn't come round there, so he survives to go around for another lap.
Oh, that definitely isn't going to help the tires though for that attempt. That's why you really have to keep your eye in. And of course, being right-hand drive, the Bentley does have a slight advantage on that. You do get a better view of that curb. You're a bit closer to it, able to sort of see it a bit better. But I will continue to defer to your expertise at Kyalami. Of course, you have lots of experience here, particularly in that Red Arrow's Lamborghini that I once set up for you, Mardley, is it looks like Jack Doll is coming to a stop just at the end of the pit lane, getting out of the way of anyone else making their runs. So up we go to Lodge up here, going down the run to Mineshaft now. We have some more cars stopped around the grid, but they quickly teleport back to their garages.
Yeah, and you're alluding to the Kyalami series that I competed in back with one of our partners, SimGrid, back in the a while back now. It must be almost a year, but yeah, there's plenty of good partners we have on board with us. One of them is Sim Staff. So we were talking about Cav Bird earlier. One of our commentators, you would have seen him in the booth with you so early in the season. But yeah, one thing that he may want to pursue is a career in esports and sim racing events, and that's something that SimStaff can help you with. If you're interested in getting involved in the industry, then head to simstaff.net/careers to check out what they have on offer and yeah, kickstart your path in a career of esports and sim racing events.
Always good to have a flying start, especially in such a competitive industry as that. Speaking of flying, here we go around the track again. Lots of McLarens, still a very popular car. Nice aerodynamic efficiency there as we see him, Adil Mushtaq there. And the number 12 McLaren, one Royal Holloway car from another behind him is the sole 1.8 series car, as I'm going to call them now, remaining in the series. Both of us having taken our leave from this fun tournament. So here we are, the 187. It's interesting to see. It normally have more 1.8s out there, but generally we have more teams out there in general. It's turned a bit more independent now. It seems.
Yeah, I think once we started as a primarily university team championship, and there's a lot of we've had Arctic Racing, we've had obviously BS Competition have got involved, so it's good to see lots of different teams get involved, and I know some teams have actually approached us
Oh dear.
on our social media pages about some of our drivers. We see Adil Mushtaq hit that inside curb, and that's not the way you want to be reversing, but just getting off track there. I think you may as well RTG there because the McLaren with its rear downforce, that's going to be too much damage to get the maximum performance. But yeah, we were just on board with Oliver Fletcher there. I think he's someone that I'm going to be watching today. When he first started sim racing, just over a year ago now, I remember I was teaching him quite a lot of the tracks, and one of the first ones we got to was Kyalami, and I taught him what I told everyone in the Simhound track guide, and he was faster than me, and I said, right, that's it. I'm not giving you any more tuition. And
I
he seems to have done all right since then. So I'm interested to see how he does today. This now he's a year on.
Yeah, for sure. I remember your your of course jokey displeasure at that. That was rather funny. I mean, he was faster than me immediately there, which was astounding. Very very quick learner, Fletch. Although going to see how long he can hold off Harry Spears behind there. Both of them on fast runs. Oh no, isn't I think Harry's just coming out. I can't quite see the dot behind him. Looks like it might be blue, so Harry might well just be warming up and sticking to Fletch. Um, I never liked having a car in my rearview mirror during a lap, but it doesn't actually affect him physically, so it's fine. Uh,
Yeah, I'm the same. It just gets me a little bit on edge, so I prefer to sort of let them through. It might be worth Fletcher letting Harry Spears through here and just following him around the lap, seeing his lines, seeing whether he can follow him at all. But as we
that
see
is
Harry back off there and Jack comes through as well, so yeah, we'll see them set up for their final runs here.
That is something I prefer. I do like following other cars around. Of course, aero wash isn't very fun, but you know, some aero wash. These cars are not as sensitive as say an open wheeler might be. Closed body, you know, lots of the downforce is just simply from the floor of the car. It's not really that sensitive to aero wash, so you can afford to follow people. Although depending on the circuit, for example, places like Bathurst, it's a bit too tight and twisty. You don't really want to do that. Here, not so bad though, although it is of note, we are at relatively high altitude and the game does take that into account. Kind of thin air, you know, not really that much aerodynamic grip as much as they'd be used to, maybe. Some of the more attuned drivers might be feeling that by now.
Yeah, I can't say it's something that I've necessarily noticed, but then to be fair, I wasn't actually aware that the game simulated altitude changes. But that's certainly interesting to hear as we see, we might see the McLarens and such doing a little bit better here today because they do have that slightly better downforce package. As we see Fletcher let Jack Noller through there. I think he might have just gone wide a little bit through Sunset. But yeah, Jack heading up to the top of the circuit now, and he's using a very wide line there to try and get as good an exit as possible as he heads down towards Crocodiles.
The McLaren, you can just tell from looking at it, can't you? What an aerodynamic car. It does look fantastic. Speaking of looking fantastic, wouldn't be me in the booth without some livery talk. And it's a very bright color indeed. I'm not going to say the name, Max, before you ask.
Well, it's nice to see that sort of highlighter yellow on the front of the car. I think it really pops. A lot of people don't necessarily like it too much, the Williams Esports car there, but I'm a big fan of that transition from the yellow to the blue. I think it really makes it pop, and you can see Jack coming from a mile off. It's almost like Ayrton Senna's helmet from the 1980s.
Yeah, that day glow effect is quite powerful, isn't it? I mean, you know, we've got fluoro back in the grid in F1 now with McLaren's new fluoro papaya. And it's nice to have fluoro in our grid too. Colourful cars, always good. It's nice to have variety on the grid, and it's a colour you don't often see, so I'm all for it.
I tell you what, I've just noticed is Cav Bud up in third position. I Now that's something that I wouldn't have been expecting at the start of the race, and that's absolutely nothing against Cav. But we have an extremely competitive grid this season, and usually we've seen the likes of Lynn, Langsdale, Foster, and Faruqi who are below him there, ahead of the likes of Cav Bud, but he's clearly making that M4 work around here.
Well, you know, he has managed to hold it since near the beginning of the session, so it's clearly going quite well. It's very close there, though. Actually, he's actually set the same time as Lynn in the McLaren behind him. Of course, Cav having set that time first will be the one to hold the higher position. But I mean, it is close from Cav down to List. It's only a handful of tenths, only 5 tenths about, and the Faruqi, it's just over a tenth.
Yeah, and we can see he's not going to be challenged by Anna Langsdale Foster, who's in the pit lane at the minute. So we'll have to see whether Faruqi and List can improve on their times, and even Lynn, just that fraction of a second. And obviously Cav himself, see how he does as he heads into this final part of the lap.
Well, 47 seconds to go and counting. You know, anything could change. All the guys and girls heading up, ready for their final lapses. Oh, that's not going to help the setup that much. Luckily, there is a pretty heavy braking zone, so it's not going to flow too hard into the lap. Try and shake off the dirt. So Cav's going to try and defend that qualifying position as the rest of the grid tries and challenge further up for more positions. So we're looking at Cav Bud, Lynn and Anna Langsdale Foster fighting out for that third position currently, although we could see surprises up and down the grid. Who knows? We had to have some pretty late performances before in these qualifyings and wouldn't put it past anyone to do it again.
Yeah, and it was a good, Cav was very switched on there. He obviously made the mistake in that second to last corner, but wanted to set up for that next lap. So I think he's clearly got some pace in him. He's probably looking at that delta, seeing whether he can improve, and will be pushing on this lap.
Yeah, always looking for improvements, but of course you can't be too focused on that delta. Delta watching is often the downfall of a lot of drivers. You're looking at that delta, looking for anywhere to gain time, and it's still in the green, and you're looking too much, and ooh, bit of a slide on the turn in. It looked like there, but could just be the fact that I'm not used to seeing cars go that fast around here, to be honest. So everyone looking for little bits to make up, but of course, if you focus too hard, it could actually make your life a lot more difficult.
As you see Cav get a little bit loose there again and coming out of the hairpin, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to improve on this lap, but nor is Jimmy Lynn because he's in the pits. Anna Langsdale Foster is in the pits. Jason List is in the pits. Umar Faruqi may be the only person that can challenge Cav's third place here.
Unless we see an absolute shocker from Oliver Fletcher, currently 3 seconds dead off pole position. So yeah, there's only Faruqi and Fletch to challenge. So Cav's going to round the corner. After seeing those slides, I don't think an improvement on the current time on the board, but we'll see. No, indeed, so that's checkered flag. We're going to get the last two cars coming across now. Here comes Faruqi, as I think Fletch has returned to the pits. Yep, so can Faruqi displace anyone ahead of him?
No, so yeah, third place for Cav Bud. That's an astonishing performance for the Sussex driver there. A little bit of bitterness in my voice as he is an ex-Royal Holloway driver, but yeah, an impressive qualifying there from Cav.
Good performances indeed. So everyone now going to get ready, do some final fuel calculations, ready for the race. Right. So, what do you think, Max? What's going to happen down into one? Well, into one, into two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one thing that is a personal favourite of mine, which due to the nature of that first braking zone, let's say, rather than turn, you basically you can get the car stopped and just keep it on that inside, and you'll be absolutely fine. So you can do a big send down the inside, and obviously the track like is very wide as it comes down into that first corner. So it'll be interesting to see whether anyone goes for that big dive. You know how many cars wide we see going to that first corner. It could be four, maybe five, or even six wide going into that first turn. It'll certainly be interesting to see who gets the best starts. We know that the Bentley is a strong starting car, as is the BMW, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see, yeah, what happens as we head into that first turn.
It's those cars with a lot of grunt. They always get off the line nice and quick once the lights go green. But as you say, lots can happen as usual in all sim racing into the first braking zone. But the track is very wide there indeed. So you know, could see someone making a last minute switch to the inside if they think the opportunity's there. All to play for still. Hopefully everyone's going to get their fuel calculations right. I know that's one thing that I I and a few people I know have made mistakes in.
Yeah, something. I mean, we're now four races into this championship, and we've been using this format for a little while now. So the drivers are probably used to it. But yeah, we can see those mistakes come in, and some fuel saving may be necessary. But hopefully, we don't see any of that from any of the drivers.
Hopefully not. So, with just about a minute to go until everyone gets ready for the formation lap, um, sort of it's that feeling that starts to creep in before a race. Always get the pre-race jitters, especially when you're holding that speed right before the lights go green. Wonder if anyone's formulating a plan, but obviously we'll see as we go forward.
Yeah, I think some people will be thinking about what they're doing is turn one, before the race even starts, and but we'll see who can adapt the best. We'll see whether Cav Bud can maybe get involved with those front two drivers. He might not necessarily be able to hold them up for the whole race, but if we can get past, that could throw a spanner in the works for the two of them. Because it's always been plain sailing for them, but that might, yeah, like I said, might throw a spanner in the works for them.
This is the thing: if Calf can sort of do an on, as it were, and get in the way of the two champions in front, starting from third, it will force them to react. Something will go differently because, as you said, normally these two just run away into the distance and have their own little battle. But with a long run into turn one like that, there's a lot of into turn two. There's a lot of things that people can do behind. You can catch a pretty good slipstream, and you can really make some good moves into that first braking zone. So the formation lap is underway, and we're seeing all the cars move off. 18 cars on the grid for this. Let's run through the grid quickly for everyone watching. So we've got Harry Spears putting on pole position by quite some margin as well by the end of the qualifying session. Next, we have Jack Noller, the two championship protagonists, sharing the front row as can be expected. In the number 36, Williams Esports McLaren, that bright Dayglow livery really standing out. Up next on the second row, Cab Bud. What a good performance from him, setting the same time as Jimmy Lin behind him. But of course, setting it first means that he's got the position. He's in third. Next, Lin In fourth in the McLaren. First of a cluster of three of them, really. Next, Anna Langsdale Foster, the Trent Thunder driver, once again, very strong performance from her, up in fifth. Then sixth goes to Umar Faruqi, the end of that little trio of McLarens. That's the third row. Let's have a look at the fourth row now. List in his Ferrari. Pretty good performance there. Next, Cam Gold in the Lamborghini, sharing the fourth row with him. Next, Cher and Carey, two cars that I've designed, so happy to see them together. Up on 9 and 10. Next, 11 is Lodge. 12, Fletcher, the sole remaining Royal Holloway Motorsport entry for this season. But another Royal Holloway driver behind him is Adil Mushtaq in 13th. Next, Josh Perrott in the Mercedes, the red and white machine of UE Bristol. Then Ishan Wells, the number 301 Bentley, one of the two Bentleys here. Good to see some more of my absolute favourite car on this grid. Ramley in the BMW makes up 16th in the number 86. Oh, we have Ishan stopped on track there. Maybe just dropped it on the warm-up, it looks like. I'd assume so. It's happened before. Easy to do. Hopefully not too much damage. So, last two on the grid, we have Lee in the number 2 Mercedes and Dimitris Samanis in the number 28 Porsche right at the back. So, all the drivers getting some nice temperature into their tyres. Of course, these do have tyre warmers, but you do want as much as you can into the brakes and tyres before we get to the race. Down into mineshaft on this formation lap now. All the drivers getting ready. So, this is going to be interesting. Hopefully, we can keep it clean into Crowthorne. But, we're struggling to keep it clean on the formation lap now. It seems no racing yet, guys. Come on, calm down as we go towards the crocodiles.
It's certainly been a bit of a messy outlap for our drivers, so maybe that will reflect what we see in the rest of the race, but hopefully not. But yeah, I think we're in for some action going down into that first corner and through those first few S's as we head up the hill. And yeah, like you said, that those nerves are starting to settle in now. You know, when do you press the throttle? You don't want to get that drive-through penalty, but yeah, I think all the drivers will be itching to get going now after this formation lap.
Well, round Ingwe they come as they see the lights in front of them. We're back in South Africa with sports car racing in BUSR. As the cars line up, the lights are about to go green any second.
Green light.
And the lights have gone green. We're racing in South Africa. Harry Spears and Jack Noller, good start from them. Cab Budd pulling away from Lynn there as Harry has to go defensive right to the inside of the track. Cab darting around trying to look for a door in. Lynn might try there as they go wheel to wheel through turn 1. 4 abreast nearly as we have Langsdale Foster, Faruqi, and it looks like the Ferrari and the BMW there as well alongside. Wheel to wheel through several turns. We've got 2 cars wide up and down the grid as Harry Spears leads them away.
Yeah, and we saw Jack Noller and Harry Spears side by side there through the sweeps. And Samanis has gone off there. He's not going to be happy with that. You know, he's starting at the back. He didn't qualify. I wanted to see how he'd progress up the field. But yeah, he's going to struggle a bit now from there. But it gives him a chance to settle into the race and see what he can do. But yeah, all the drivers very well behaved as they went through the sweeps going up to barbecue. And yeah, no real incidents to report of so far as we see Cher go for a move.
Faruqi losing positions, now down in 8th, was up there with the other McLarens, but Carey and List managing to make their way through. So in the lead, it's Harry Spears, 2/10s up from Jack Noller and Cab Budd not too far behind. In the midfield, there's quite a scrap going on for all positions as the car's now farther away through, down the dive towards mineshaft.
As we see Perrott just alongside Gold there for a minute as he ducks back into the slipstream. It's an interesting corner. We may see a dive from Perrott here. Just as he covers it off Cameron Gold there. Do they both get out the other side? Yes, they do. But I think Perrott will get a slightly better run as they head towards Cheetahs. But it will be a brave move to go up the insde there. Yeah,
and he won't do it there. And because of that battle, Oliver Fletcher now getting interested. So we have wheel to wheel there on the exit. That's Cher and List going wheel to wheel with Faruqi just in front of them. Cher coming out on top that time, but it's a run down to turn 1. The kink obviously not really being much of a turn. You're going to try and get that slipstream. Now is around the time when people might be poking their heads out, but I don't think any dives coming so far, although it looks like Fletcher's looking for the inside there. On Perrott might make it, or not quite sure. That looks like a little bit of curb there, hampering his run. So continuing in the order, although he's right on the back of that Mercedes.
Yeah,
Oh, as we
Sumanis
see-
just clipping that yellow curb there, a little bit dangerous, especially in the Porsche, but he manages to get past Lee there at the back of the grid. So we see Fletch going for another move, maybe down into Sunset, but no. But Perrett's a little bit wide, so Fletch is going to get a better run as we go up to that next corner. But Perrett very much covering that inside. Can Fletch go around the outside, get the cut back? This is why I love this track. It's all about racecraft.
All about racecraft. You're going to need some precision here. Going through the S's now, there's a bit of a spot of dust up there on the entry from Sabine, but nothing to worry about here. Next opportunity for Oliver Fletcher in the 187 is going to be up into this hairpin here, a bit far back to try and make anything desperate, although never know what could happen in front of him. As looks like Perrett's gone wide again, so they're going to be wheel to wheel on the run down to Mineshaft. Here we go then. One Mercedes, one Lamborghini. What's going to win out here? V10 power or V8 power? As they go wheel to wheel in through Mineshaft, still evens. Josh is going to have the inside line though into the Crocodiles. Oh, but he's fallen behind enough that Fletcher's managed to take that position. Nice racing.
Yeah, Fletch done very well there. I think it was a bit of psychological warfare, perhaps, just sending a nose up the inside, going to the hairpin. Oh, as he hits the inside curb, will he keep it out of the barrier? Yes, he does.
He
Shame
does,
there,
but that's going to
Fletch.
cost him.
But yeah, just a little bit of psychological warfare, it seemed there from Fletch. Just sticking a nose up the inside. There was no way he was making a move into that hairpin, but it did mean he got a better exit as they went down towards Crocodiles through Mineshaft. So, you know, we may see that from drivers today as Faruqi and Cameron Gold are now battling. Sorry, Lodge.
It's Lodge, I believe. Yep, it's another one of the purple McLarens, and Gold still battling with him as nearly turning into him there. Squeezing right to the circuit, right on the edge of racing. That's what you want to do. Give your rivals as little room as possible while still within the rules. So pretty good battling up and down the grid. There's Perrett now, having survived that little confrontation with Fletch. Nearly making a move there again. Here's a different purple McLaren. Here comes Faruqi under threat from Cher and List behind him.
Yes, we saw Cameron Gold just get a slightly better exit, as we said, you know, going up to turn 5 in that Simhound track guide. You know, if you get the run up to Sunset, then you can just stick a wheel up the inside and maybe put some pressure on, but not able to do it that lap on Josh Lodge. But we may see Jason List go for a move here as Cher hasn't covered the inside quite and goes a little bit wide. We're going to see a similar thing to Fletch and Perrett, I think, here as we head down the hill.
Yep, dive all the way down side by side, not quite side by side. List has to back off, didn't quite get the run they were wanting to. Into the Crocodiles now. Cher's going to cover the inside, it looks like, but he's going to move right back to the racing line, realizing he's not far back. But not on the racing line is Cameron Gold. He goes down the inside into Crocodiles, but that might be a cutback opportunity from Lodge. Not quite enough, though. They're going to have to go file by file into Cheetah there. No way you're going to get overtakes into Cheetah. I think it's quite dangerous to try and stick one up the inside when there's that curve there.
Yeah, the problem with being behind someone going through that corner is that you can't actually see that inside curb. You know, we've said it's blind when you're just by yourself, but when you've got a car in front, you can misjudge that, and it's such a crucial corner for both the last turn and the entire next lap and the run down to that first. Well, I'm going to call the first corner because I can't be bothered with the kink. But anyway, as we see Umar Faruqi trying to size up a move against Nathan Carey here.
Nathan Carey holding him back nicely in the MCY X10 car. Nice bit of title sponsorship there from me. Although Faruqi managing to stick right to the back of him through Sunset there. So we're probably going to see a move set up in a few laps. The driver's not really moving apart. I say a few laps. Here he goes trying the inside. Oh, nearly cutting across the bow of him there. Nathan Carey just taking the racing line. Faruqi's still there. And Cher buzzing around there all over the back of that McLaren. Trying to look for everywhere. Anywhere he can stick his nose in. It really needs to find an opportunity here. He might well do as well. Here we go at the run to Leacop, the hairpin at the top. Cher's gonna set himself up for the cutback here, maybe. Yes, he is. So that's gonna give him a really nice run. What a cutback. That's a really nice move there. And that's actually gonna leave Faruqi vulnerable to List now. So he pulls right back in front of Faruqi before Mineshaft. That's gonna move them right into combat for the Crocodiles. Cher covering the inside as List. Was that an attempt at a move? Bit far back for that move to stick. Although he's going to come right next to Faruqi now. Not a chance into Cheetah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the cutback was helped by the fact that Faruqi took a little bit too much curb there as he came out of the hairpin. And as we see Josh Lodge maybe going for a move on his fellow Josh Perrett as we go into the final corner. Nicely set up, and he's probably going to get a slightly better exit, but that grunt from the Mercedes is going to help as we get to see Simonis getting involved now as well.
Semanis getting involved as well, and a decent slipstream from behind what is a relatively large car there. Might be a bit of a battle coming here. Lodge moves to the inside, swaps places almost with Semanis on track. He's going to try and hang it all the way around the outside, but it's not going to work. Converts that into a cutback for the Yusuke sweep up to Barbecue.
As we see, Semanis, it's a very wide entry into that corner, so he tries to stick one up the inside, but both of their exits have been compromised there, so Perret is able to run away a little bit as they head towards Sunset now. But yeah, Semanis not being able to get past Lodge at the minute.
Only 8 minutes into the race and still quite a lot of combat going on as the grid in the midfield still so close together. Semanis now still all over the back of that McLaren, and needless to say, this combat's going to go on for a while. Maybe not though, as Lodge goes quite wide. He's going to try into the entrance of the S's. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the S's here. That's going to be quite fun. Still there, so we're going to be a little bit of a tap there, nearly sent Semanis wide. We're going to come up now to the hairpin of Learkov at the top of the hill. Semanis got the inside line, but that's going to compromise his run down the hill. Lodge obviously going to try for the cutback, but Semanis loiters just long enough to stop him from doing that. Now it's a straight run down the mine shaft. So we're going to see what happens here. Too far back.
Yeah, as we see, yeah, Semanis placed his car perfectly there, so Lodge wasn't able to get that cutback, wasn't able to maximise that exit that he'd set up for, so it's almost a bit of a block pass from Semanis in the end, but yeah, not quite, but a good overtake there from the Greek.
Nathan Carey now leading a bit of a train down towards turn 1. Through the kink they go. Goes defensive on Cher as Faruqi goes defensive on List. It's a mirror image almost as we look backwards through the grid. Looks like no changes through here, although we're going to go wheel to wheel. Don't think Cher's got enough room really there to make that much of a move, but he's going to try anyway as they both go round. That's going to compromise the two behind. Both recover relatively quickly. Carey's up and running already, but that looked like it was going to end in disaster anyway. It's a very, very tight bit of track there for two cars to go so quickly next to each other. Stewart's going to be having a look, obviously, at that. As there we go, we see both of them almost synchronized spinning as they go through turn 5 barbecue there. So, up ahead of them, you got Faruqi and List still duking it out there, but Carey managing to almost get away with it.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the stewards think of that, whether they leave it as non-instant, because obviously, because Cher didn't actually get through in the end. But yeah, if you're up the inside there going into that into barbecue, then you do sort of have a right to a little bit of space. So maybe Carey should have given Cher a little bit more space there, and he would have probably got the better run down to Sunset. But yeah, we'll never know with those two now. But we'll see what happens with the stewards, and we'll see what happens with List and Faruqi here, and whether Carey can get back involved.
Well, it doesn't look like it's too much. Looks like Anna Langsdale Foster's
big damage for Anna Langsdale Foster.
Yeah, come a cropper on the curb. That's steering damage. That car does not want to turn. As we go through now, that's looking at her exit through the crocodiles. Gonna run through Cheetah and see what happened. Was it the curb? Oh, it was a slight tap.
It wasn't the curb, I don't think. She went a little bit wide there and I think lost it on the AstroTurf, so that's a real shame, going very slowly in the pit stops. Looks like she's trying to adjust that stop before she gets back into the pit lane. As we see us struggling to get the replay a little bit, so apologies for that. But yeah, I think that's going to be curtains for Anna Langsdale Foster's race today. Such a shame, because she's been performing really well at the start of this season so far.
It's such a sharp pit lane entry as well, that left turn, and the car, the way it was damaged, looked like the steering was cocked right. So, that was really painful to try and get it into the pits, and as you said, that might well be curtains for her. It's a shame, really, because it was a relatively good performance up to that point so far. Looking back onto the track now, we've got List and Faruqi still in combat. Carey not too far behind, so the damage not affecting him too much so far. But reminder, we're still yet to see any of the mandatory stops so far in this 90-minute race. There are 2, so we will be seeing some variance in the grid so far. But right now, it's Harry Spears still leading the way after a little bit of side-by-side action earlier. And all the fighting seems to be in the midfield right now.
Yeah, and Harry Spears with that Simhound fastest lap at the minute. He's taken a lot of them so far. I think it was only Angus Fender when he showed up last week that managed to take it away from him. But we'll see either a pair of gloves or a pair of Simhound Sim Racing shoes going Harry's way so far during this race. And just a reminder that you can get any products at simhound.com for 10% off with BUSR 10 at simhound.com at checkout, including this lovely hoodie that you may have seen me sporting so far in the broadcast.
You too could look like our lovely commentator Max Grime. So here we have Harry Spears making his way around the circuit. A little bit lonely now. Managed to drop Jack Noller by about 5 seconds when the sector time updates any second. About 5.9, so nearly 6 seconds.
Ooh, and a big moment for Jack Noller.
Noller gets really loose out of there, and that's really cost him a lot of time. That's actually going to open the door for the cars behind him, maybe. Cab Bud closed a massive amount, obviously due to that very loose tank slapper came on there mid-corner.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'll be honest, I didn't point it out during the hot lap that I filmed earlier, but I was turning into that corner. You need to turn in sharp and get it into the apex there. But the McLaren just not giving him the rear grip that he wanted, and that back end just coming around. It was something that happened on my track guide as well, and I think it is a problem with the McLaren. So, trying to trim out that rear wing for that main straight so you can get the overtakes done. But yeah, a bit of a risk there for Jack Noller, and just the car not complying with him as he turned into that corner. It's also not going to have done his tyres many favours, sorry. So we'll see whether that affects his strategy throughout this race.
Well, lateral through the gravel, that's never going to help your tyres, is it? As Cab Bud now has a windscreen full of that McLaren. That's going to be a motivational device, if you want, as he sees one fluorescent McLaren in front of him, one fluorescent McLaren behind him. So that's opened that up a bit. We'll see if Cav can keep up. Meanwhile, in the midfield, looks like List and Faruqi, looking at the timing, still very close to each other. Wonder if these two are going to keep running this close. It's going to take a pit stop to separate them at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think, we could see this battle throughout the race. Hopefully, fingers crossed throughout the race, but we'll see how strategy comes into it. We were speaking about fuel at the start of the race. One thing that can be crucial, particularly if you don't take tyres, which is possible, it's difficult in this latest update of ACC, but it is entirely possible to not have to take tyres for this hour-and-a-half race, and then spending as little time as possible in the pit stops. So that includes stopping on your marks, fueling up as little as possible. So we'll see what the driver's strategy is as we head into the next hour and 15 minutes of this race.
Well, this is the thing. The pit stops are long enough that if you are able to take care of your tyres just that little bit, you can afford to, keep them on and maybe nurse them to the end. Then that will save you a lot of time in the pit stops. But at the same time, everyone likes a fresh pair of boots. So I know I always just take fresh tyres. I like having new tyres, especially with the sheer understeer that I seem to cause with my driving style. Those front tyres are very much not working by the end of any stints I do. So List and Faruqi now still in combat. That's not really changing much right now. Managing to hold formation, as it were. Looking back on the timing tower, anywhere else we've also got Perrot and Simanis. Oh, as Mushtaq is off. Yeah, gonna have to rejoin the track briefly, facing the wrong way, obviously. Always nervous there, but nice and clear, so not a problem at all. As Mushtaq is going again.
Yeah, imagine they've just taken a little bit too much curb going through the S's. Yeah, a little bit too much there, and then it just unsettles the car, especially in the McLaren, and just snap as they try to catch it. It's that's the thing about Kyalami that makes it so challenging, is the curbs. They look very enticing, but they are big. So you hit them in the wrong way, or you hit them too much, and you will be going round. As we
Back
see
into combat then. Nathan Carey's going to move to the inside to defend from Cher. The Audi going to try and make its way round the outside, or perhaps a cutback. Nathan's had to compromise his line quite a lot. We've seen these guys come together. It's a barbecue, and once again, they're wheel to wheel up through the sweeps. Bit more alongside and ahead now for the Audi, but Nathan's going to hang it round all the way on the outside. They're still wheel to wheel on the back straight now. We're going to run towards Sunset and see who comes out on top. The sheer size of that BMW, look at it towering over the Audi as the inside goes to Nathan Carey. Pretty good run so far. He's going to have to make sure that there's no door for that Audi to go down the inside, though, and there isn't.
Yeah, I'm surprised Cher didn't try and go for the inside there, tried to get a better exit, but actually Nathan Carey too slow through that corner at the top of the hill, clubhouse there. So Cher couldn't get the run as we went down into the S's. But earlier I said, I guess we'll never know what will happen, would have happened between those two if they'd have gone side by side through that corner. Well, now we have. And Carey getting that slightly better exit, affording to give Cher a little bit more of that inside line. But as we see them head now down through Mineshaft and towards Crocodiles, will we see a move again? Or will we see Cameron Gold get involved as well?
of course, when you're in combat, you have compromised your own speed, so Gold's closed right up to the back of them now, and in fact, is right on the back of the Audi of Cher. So 2 cars with V10s chasing the inline 6, as it were, of the BMW. So we're going to keep going following this battle, as looks like we're going to have a round 2 right into the first corner, because I think Cher's going to get just as good an exit as before, and you're going to get a lovely slipstream there. Nathan Carey trying to move around, maybe to disrupt as much of the tow as he can, but there's only so much he can do. Goes defensive once again. Into the first braking zone we go. He's a bit further ahead this time. Once again, the cutback comes for Cher, although he's not actually going to try it that time. He's close enough that he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. Didn't work that time. And not wheel-to-wheel into barbecue. So a bit more survival for Nathan Carey, but I wonder how long he can keep this up.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do there, what Cher was trying to keep it around the outside of that turn 1, because it is off-cambered, as we heard in the Simhound track guide. But yeah, you have to be squeezing your opponent right on that curb if you want to try and go around the outside there. But we may see him go for a move. Ooh, not into Clubhouse. Again, I'm surprised that Cher isn't going for that move. I think Carey seems to be a lot better on the brakes into that section than Cher, so he's that's not an option for him. But we may see him try and get a better run here as we go through the S's a little bit wide of that second right-hander, so I think Carey's going to be safe going into this hairpin.
Going to be safe unless any mistakes are made. This is the thing. Anything can happen in these races. Takes a slightly different line to Cher through that corner 2 laps in a row now. And like I see, Nathan likes to keep it a bit tighter on the entry. That's, you know, going to give Cher a bit of a better run down through Mineshaft, but it's almost like a repeat of the last lap. A bit too far back. Cameron Gold not as close as he was last time to this battle, although could be going for round 3 almost. Faruqi and List up ahead, not really in combat anymore. They've kind of separated. Cher right up the back of the BMW now. We're going to look at this battle for another lap, it seems, as Nathan goes defensive on the final corner at Ingwe.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a train forming now behind Carey, and Cher did actually very well there through Cheetahs to not hit that inside curve, as he's got a much better run this time. But he's going to be forced to the outside once again. Will he be able to cut back before that first corner, though? No, I think Nathan Carey is going to maintain that inside line. As we see Cher, will he try to go around the outside once again or get that cutback? He goes for the outside line, but once again, not being able to make it work as Carey gives him absolutely no space.
Oh, but he does make it work because something went wrong with Carey. Didn't manage to get the power down there. He's going to try and stick it up the inside, and they are going to continue wheel-to-wheel up through barbecue. Now, oh, looks like Cher just got the better exit there, but Carey's still right on his tail. Cameron Gold and Demetrius Samanis watching this unfold as Gold sticks up the inside of Carey there. Almost a little bit of overlap there. That's a bold one, as Carey now has the inside. Perrett's arriving on the scene now. So we're looking at a 5-way fight here for P7 as Cher manages to clear Carey. That train forming behind him. Cher's now running away a little bit. So up next in line in the battle is Gold, but he is under threat from Samanis behind. And close enough is Samanis that he might well try and move into Leocop. We'll have to wait and see, as Gold goes defensive for a second there.
Yeah, I think Samanis is certainly the fastest driver of these 4 at the minute, you know, starting from the back of the grid and making his way up. We've seen him on the podium in BUSR, so it will be interesting to see how he negotiates these slightly slower drivers. Although that's nothing against these 3 drivers at all. They are all on a similar... Oh, Perrett goes for a slight fake move there. But yeah, I think they're all going to be trying to get past Carey, and then we'll see what happens to the Coventry driver.
Nathan doesn't seem to be getting the runs out of Ingwe here, as Demetrius Samanis makes his move down the inside of Cam Gold. Cam managing to hold his line there, so pretty good stuff from Cam. They've dropped off the back of Nathan a little bit, so the combat's going to be amongst these 3. Where's Perrett going to fall into this, as Samanis keeps moving left and left to try and block the way into that corner? Looks like some decent overlap between him and Josh Perrett, but is Josh going to be able to hang around the outside? Not quite. So continuing in this order, Gold renewing his assault on Carey now.
Yeah, I think Carey was given a little bit of respite there by the fact that Samanis went for that move in that final corner. It meant that Gold or Samanis, neither of them could get that exit, which also meant that Perrett could get involved. But I think, yeah, Josh Perrett is going to have to be a little bit more aggressive, I think, with the Manchester driver of Demetrius Samanis if he wants to get past him. Maybe should have gone for that inside line and done that sort of block pass we can see in that first turn. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these 3, follow each other through, and whether they can all get past the Coventry car in front.
Well, we're on board now with Samanis, as he's close enough to Gold to conceivably make a move if he leaves the door open, but not quite enough there. to make a move. But he's going to have a nice run now down towards Mineshaft. This combat between these 4 drivers still continuing on. Nathan Carey not quite pulling away as much as he might like to from this battle. So all of them still together. Josh Parrott there in 11th, right behind, as Demetrius Samanis closing right up under braking here with Cam Gold. The Porsche, very good cornering ability, nice and nimble in that car. As we're going to wait for, I've lost track, maybe round 5 now of this battle as we go on to another lap.
Yeah, Gold appears to be very strong on the brakes. You know, we know that Porsche is very strong given its slightly lower top speed, but Gold managing to stay ahead of Samanis as we go into the hairpin. But as we go into turn 1, will we see what happens here? Will Gold go for the inside? I don't think he will. Carey's not going to let him.
He can't. That door was firmly shut. But now, because those two have compromised their lines in combat, Demetrius gets to slide right in here, right into the thick of the fighting for here. Oh, as Gold gets a twitch, and that opens the door for Demetrius Samanis, and he gets through. So up next now, it's Josh Parrott. That twitch seemed to compromise Cam Gold more than I thought. Managed to get Parrott almost in on the action there. Has to back out though before this high-speed turn. No sense sticking your nose up that corner.
As we see them all slightly slow through sunset there, and who's that ahead of them? Is that is that a lap car? Or is that Ramley perhaps ahead?
I think
or Mushtaq?
They've closed right up to Share again, but I'm not sure who else is there.
I believe it's Mushtaq, the lap car.
Mushtaq, yeah.
So yeah, Mushtaq maybe playing a little bit of a role there with Carey and Samanis, but I think Samanis is a very aggressive driver, and Carey's not necessarily, the quickest of drivers here. So we'll see what happens as they head down into Crocodiles. Samanis forced the long way around. Oh, and he takes that outside line, not getting the cutback. But as they make contact.
Got forced onto the runoff there, and in his attempt to rejoin, murdered the curb there and managed to stay alive as Mushtaq drops it in the background there. But we continue on this battle. Demetrius clearly not best pleased with his re-entry being blocked by Nathan Carey there as he flashes his lights in displeasure. But here we go now on the run down towards Crowthorne. Carey's going to go defensive again. It's worked every time thus far. Demetrius lights a blaze trying to flash Nathan Carey, show his displeasure with the BMW driver as he goes ahead. Very, very close now, almost bumper to bumper. That's going to be, the yellow curb. That's quite, you can't really see that when there's a car in front of you, and it's quite a dangerous one to run over. So the combat continues for another lap, and all of these 4 drivers still close together.
Yeah, as we see, I think we've seen this lap that Samanis is a very quick driver, but not necessarily, got the right racing mentality as we go through this lap, hitting a couple of the curbs where you need to be able to avoid, and not necessarily setting up a move that he needs to make on Carey to try and get away from Gold and Parrott behind.
Yep, now looking on board with Parrott in this combat and switching back to Samanis. So this train, really, you could watch any of the cars, and we're going to keep seeing some interesting moments. Closing right up under braking there with Carey, but Carey's going to need to use all the grunt that BMW has to try and pull it downhill faster than the Porsche, and he's getting a decent run so far through Mineshaft. Not nearly as much overlap as there was last time when we had that little mini incident. So we're going to continue now. Looks like Demetrius just going to try and set up his run. Looks like Cam Gold there going quite a bit wide. Both these guys dropping the other two in this pack a little bit as we go through another round, another lap with this battle as Parrott dives into the pit. So there we go. He's pulled the trigger on the strategy. I wonder if the others will follow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether we can see the undercut working there. And I think as we went through Cheetahs, you could see Samanis a little bit nervous about that inside curb compared to last lap. Hart was certainly beating faster last time. Will he go for the dive here? No, just a bit too far back, and Carey's very strong on the brakes again. Samanis not being able to maximise the power of those Porsche brakes up against these 2 drivers that he's around now. A lot of the inside curb there. Once again, Samanis not learning his lesson with those yellow curbs. But as we see Gold now trying to capitalise as they go towards sunset.
That would have been incredibly uncomfortable in the car, wouldn't it? And they're going to go wheel to wheel now, nearly turning in on him. It's so dynamic, these cars through there, as Gold goes a bit wide, but you know what? He's still got the inside for Clubhouse now. They're still wheel to wheel as they come round. That Porsche, such good cornering ability, going to be able to hang it round through the S's now. Looks like the Porsche's managed to fend him off so far. So Samanis taking a bit of an aerial trip there over the curb, allowing Cam Gold to capitalize.
As we see. Oh, and Josh Perrett is sped in the pit lane, so that's not gonna give him the undercut. That's really unfortunate for the UE driver there. Just it was a little bit difficult the pit lane here, especially after we saw Anna Langsdale Foster earlier taking out that marker board. So yeah, unfortunate for the UE driver, but that'll be curtains for his race with those 3 drivers we've been watching.
And a stop go 30. That's a devastating penalty as Faruqi is pulling into the pits now. Another one to pull the trigger on the strategy. Cam Gold here has dropped off the back of Samanis a little bit by about 4/10 compared to when everyone was in combat earlier. So this little scrap come to an end after a few little taps and bangs and jumps over curbs.
Yeah, I think it won't be the last we see of these 3 battling throughout the race, at least maybe before the pit stops. That might be the downfall of Nathan Carey. We've seen in previous races that he's not necessarily adapted to other drivers' strategies. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to Samanis and Gold, whether he thinks that they're part of his race or whether he's just going to let them perhaps, use that undercut, or whether he will be aggressive with the strategy and try and cover them off.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to weigh up your options, aren't you? All the front runners here, well, everyone down to 11th, and also Ramley, they're having not taken any stops yet. Yeah, still showing 2 to go on a lot of these strategies. So far stopped is Faruqi, Perrett, Mushtaq, and Wells. So those guys have 1 more to do, going for the early stop rather than the late fuel strategy. Depending on how these drivers like their style, they might like a heavily fueled car that goes down to nothing at the end. But these guys looking to keep it a bit more constant. As Samanis has closed up once again on Carey, so looks like we're going to get a continuation of this. Oh, a continuation
and a
right
very
away.
early move. He's gone very deep there.
That was never going to work. That was far too fast into the corner. Losing all the time he made up almost instantly there. As he takes the curb again, I sense a bit of frustration here in the Greek driver.
Yeah, as he bails into the pit lane, I think maybe he might be feeling it a bit on those tyres, but we'll see what happens here with his strategy. As we see Nathan Carey, get a bit of rest from the constant attacks from his fellow competitors thus far.
We've got a car coming out of the pits there right next to Cameron Gold. That's Josh Perrett, having served his stop go 30, although that is a lapping action, I believe, so that's really unfortunate. He's back where he was, but a lap down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that that stop go 30 has just basically lost him an entire lap, including that pit stop. So yeah, that'll be particularly frustrating as he sees his pace compared to the drivers that he was with. But yeah, unfortunate. That's you can't be speeding in the pit lane.
I mean that's got to be one of the more painful ways to experience a stop go, isn't it? As we have the 549 off up ahead. That's Jay Scher, the Audi there on the outside of the track, facing the wrong way. Am I seeing any damage on the front there, or I think he looks about fine, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's managed to keep it out of the wall. It's an interesting instant there. I wonder what he's managed to do. As we see the replay now, just dipping.
Oh, unsettled on the entry.
Yeah, dipping a wheel onto the grass. He's trying to maximise the entry into those S's to carry the speed through, but just going a little bit of a stretch too far and losing it as he goes into the left-hander. But yeah, so once again, we may see Jay Scher close up to that Nathan Carey, Cameron Gold battle and see a repeat of that one.
Yeah, well, we've got almost a reset on that little pack there, as we see the leader of the race, Harry Spears, coming round. Nice and almost Sunday drivey so far. Not really any threat. 30 seconds up on Jack Noller. That's quite a distance.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think we've seen masterclasses from Harry Spears before. Zolder comes to mind. He's done that a few times there, but he appears to be doing it once again here in Kyalami. So, yeah, I think Jack Noller will probably be settling for second here, even if we do see Harry take some tyres like he did in Brands Hatch. But, Yeah, obviously, we've got some dangerous curbs as we've seen around here, and you know, no one's safe from them. Like just a slight lapse of concentration, and you can be hitting that curb at Cheetah or the yellow curbs as we go up through the sweeps. It's yeah, it won't be over until the checkered flag, but yeah, Harry Spears very much in control of this race at the minute.
Well, you know what? Just one moment, one lapse of concentration, and you're in the wall here or in the gravel. I mean, we've even seen Nola drop it just mid corner. You've said, the McLaren. Oh, as he comes across some lap traffic there, just about making it through with some room there for Ishan Wells. Two Bentleys going through. Hopefully, we'll have a better race for the two Bentleys than last time two Bentleys raced here. But yeah, all it takes is one moment, and suddenly the race is blown wide open. So no room for dropping it at all.
As we see Cav Bud is still maintaining his podium position at the minute. He's very I don't want to sound surprised because I think that's a bit mean, but yeah, Cav Bud wasn't one of the drivers that I was expecting to be this far up. We've seen the battles between Lynn and List, and Anna Langsdale-Fost, who retired after that incident earlier, but they've been the ones that have been fighting for that last podium position. And Cav Bud has come along here this week, and he's a part-timer in the series just due to other commitments, and also partly his commitments with the commentary here, but he's putting in an excellent performance up in third place now.
Well, Lodge coming in to the pits, so here comes Cher. Oh, sorry, that's not Cher. Cher's at the back. Here comes Gold on Carey, and I was about to say Perrott as well, but unfortunately he is a lap down. But that's the painful thing. He's technically almost still in this fight, but he just isn't doing it for position. It's for a lap now, and that must be terrible to feel as you're almost racing these guys to unlap yourself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Perrott does, whether he tries to get past Gold, and what his mentality will be after that stop go. Whether it'll be I don't want to get involved and ruin these guys' races, or I deserve to be here in the first place, so I'm gonna stick my nose in, as he appears to be sticking his nose in right now. But yeah, I think the only solace for Josh Perrott here is that he is a lap down, but at least he's got something to look at and something to do for the next 55 minutes of this race.
Well, you know what? In the screenshot, it's going to look like he's in combat here, so that'll do. Nathan Carey fending off an assault from another car behind him. Almost can't get a break here as Cameron murders the curb, and that really pushes him into the wall after a tap with Perrott. Oh,
very
Cher
close
there.
with Cher.
Cher there going over the grasses. Oh, he makes his way into the barrier. That's almost that's almost a sort of Imola moment with Lewis Hamilton, if you remember, trying to recover, and again, really, and actually makes contact with Oliver Fletcher there, as Fletcher runs into the back of him, didn't have enough time to brake coming into the pits. What a messy sequence for Cam Gold.
Yeah, I mean, again, we see that curb. We were talking about it when we were focusing on Harry Spears, and Cher. Interesting choice of line there for Cher. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of damage on the front of that Lamborghini now for Cam Gold, so another one that we can say that's sort of maybe out of the running here. But yeah, unfortunate for Fletch. Hopefully he didn't pick up any more than maybe 3 or 4 seconds of damage on the front of that Lamborghini as he hit his fellow Lamborghini driver. But yeah, not really much that Cam Gold could do, and not really much that Fletcher could do, as we see now the two good friends, Nathan Carey and Josh Perrott, battling out, even though they're not on the same lap. But we know they're very good friends, so we'll see what happens with these two as Josh.
They're going to remain very good friends. Yeah, he lets Josh through. Oh, looks like he had a bit of a moment there in the middle of the corner where, good lord, there's a car there. So he wasn't really expecting maybe Josh to make an unlapping move there as the MCY Design X10 BMW continues on its way. I'm poised to almost call it a curse now. It looks like every car that comes up in combat behind Nathan somehow gets their race ruined.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. These are sprint races, technically. An hour and a half is not by no means an endurance race in GT racing. But so far, Nathan Carey's been able to keep it on the straight and narrow, and fend off all the attacks he's had and just keep it in a straight line, which no one else who has been attacking him has been able to do. So hats off to him for that.
Hats off indeed, as we now have Cam Gold rejoining. What's going on here? Now he's actually in combat with Perrott, I think. So we have the same guys in the same place, all fighting. However, they're all on different laps.
Yeah, so Cam Gold giving himself effectively a stop-go 30 with that incident. And so now he's come out at the same point as Josh Perrott. So, yeah, it's...
Ooh, a bit squirrely there. Did you see that there? He
from...
got a bit loose in Gold there in the middle of the corner. That's why Carey's managed to close up again. Of course, they're getting blue flags, but they don't have to move out the way. But yeah, I mean, essentially giving himself a stop-go 30. So you know what? We're watching the same cars, but this time 2 of them are being lapped. I'll tell you what, they're not behind Nathan, so you know they shouldn't have any massive crashes since the curse only seems to apply if you're behind that X10 BMW.
Yeah, as we see Nathan seeing whether he's going to try and make a move. This will be slightly frustrating for Nathan, I think, because he'll probably be faster on different parts of the track than Cam Gold. But as we saw before those pit stops, Cam Gold is the slightly faster driver, so he'll be hoping that the Lamborghini will start to pull away from him over the next few corners, and hopefully won't be interrupting his race too much.
Oh, and guess what? Another one of the cars who was in this pack has got a stop-go 30. It's Cher.
Right, so it looks like the battle for 10th is going to start hotting up between all of these guys.
I think, you know, are they all trying to get the same penalty? Did they enjoy that battle set too much? So they're all going to come across here. There's the number 90 BMW. It looked like number 90. What was I seeing there? There's no number 90 here. Oh, well, maybe it's a late entry.
That'll be the 86
that'll be the 86.
Ramley, I believe.
Oh, you know, I was only 4 off. Forgive me. So we have Perrott coming through here. So he's actually in combat with Ramley. And behind him, Gold and Cher. So Ramley, oh God, they're all behind the BMW again.
Ramley, yeah, goes a little bit wide there through turn 5. So Perrott gets the run and will probably hang around the outside if he hasn't got the move done already, and he has. So that's 11th place now for Perrott as he tries to recover from that stop-go penalty. And yeah, pulls away from Cam Gold a little bit.
So, you know, so yeah, here we have Josh Perrott in 11th, then Ramley behind him by 2/10. Nathan's in the mix a lap up on these guys, so he's just sort of there for eye candy, I guess. And then Cam Gold and Jay Cher not far behind either. So, once again, same cars and all in a completely messy situation with laps.
It looks like Cam Gold may have made a mistake as they went through that first sector, because Nathan Carey has got up ahead of him again and there's a bit of a gap behind, so might have just got loose going through one of the corners, but yeah, he'll be trying to recover from that as we see Jack Noller coming to the pits now, dropped down to 4th already. So actually it'll be interesting to see what happens with him and traffic, because that can be a factor in this championship battle.
Actually, that is true, because he's got significant numbers of cars that are going to come out in front of him, and with his speed, he's going to catch them. So that can be a factor.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we don't want to see any messes between, you know, the faster drivers coming through, but at the end of the day they will be fighting for position, so the drivers they're up against can basically do what they want within what the stewards will allow.
Well, as long as they don't literally block him. The only thing you're not allowed to do when when having a lapped car come across you is well, the lapped cars aren't allowed to defend, but they don't have to move out of your way. Oh, that's who's that going off there?
That's Wells,
a little bit slowly.
not Wells, Lee letting
That's
through
Lee.
some lapped cars. We see Jimmy Lin here in. I noticed this on the formation lap in a bright yellow car. We're used to seeing him in a white car with that hashtag stand with Ukraine. Of course, you people, I'm sure you'll be aware of the events happening in Ukraine at the minute, and I think we echo Jimmy Lin's statement here at BUSR.
Yep, in the proud colours of Ukraine, Slava Ukraini, as we go across another lap of this race. The combat a bit spread out now, as a little bit of squirreling there through the crocodiles. So we're going to go through again. Not too much battling going on right now. He's not far off Cab Bud, but big bounces there as he dives into the pits.
Yeah, so we'll see whether he can start to mount a challenge against Cav Bud. It'll be interesting to see how their two strategies play out against one another, and whether they'll come together nearer the end of the race. Jimmy Lin, you know, is usually one of the fastest guys on the grid, but Cav Bud's shown excellent pace so far. So it may be a case of strategy that will be the thing that will make the difference. As we see now, Gold up against Ramley. We brave to go through there. Oh yeah, and we see. That's the thing, we've said it before, if you're blind through that corner, then you're far more likely to hit that inside curb, and Cam Gold is all too familiar with what that inside curb can do.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ramley running wide through Crocodiles, that was far too inviting for Cam Gold not to take the invitation. And fortunately, when you're going low through Cheetah, things can happen. That wasn't so bad that time, but, it was a lot worse before, I can tell you that much. So he's probably glad he came out that one in one piece.
I'm just having a look. Oh, no, sorry. I was getting confused on our telemetry. I was seeing Jack Noller's pit stop, which was showing as it being a minute. That's how long he was in the pits, in the pit lane, but he was stopped for 36 seconds. So maybe a little bit long on his marks, or maybe fixing a little bit of damage that we might have missed. But yeah, List on the contrary was only in the pits for 32 seconds, stopped for 8 seconds. So that'll just be fuel. So it'll be interesting to see whether he takes any tyres during this race, or whether he's just going to be fueling up, because 8 seconds isn't a long time at all.
Yeah, it's not a long time at all. So everything's still wide open for several drivers here. Noticing Jack Noller now closing up to the back of List, and in fact nearly getting past him there. I was going to say getting past would have been a bit premature. Just looking for a window, really. Both of them having already done their stops, so they're currently on the same strategy. Bit of a flash there from List, trying to get past lapped traffic. I believe that's Mushtaq in the McLaren. It is, as he's under severe threat here from the McLaren of Jack Noller.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I don't think List will be fighting this too hard, because at the end of the day, this isn't. Oh wait, it is though. Is it? It is their race.
It is their
No?
race. This is for position. They're both on one stop, so this is actually a battle.
So yeah, List, if he has gone for that alternate no tyre strategy, then this will be for the race. But Noller on those fresh tyres, just sending it up the inside with that superior pace. So unfortunately for List, not able to defend against the Oxford Brooks driver as they head down once again towards turn 1. But List is very much in the slipstream. Will he go for a move? As Jack Noller covers the inside, so I think that could be the end of that.
Could be the end of that, but List is not giving up so easily. Noller placing his car just enough so that a cutback isn't an option for List, but he's still not dropped him. So we're still going to go through and follow this. List might be thinking that he can make a move into Sunset. That'd be ambitious from this position, but he could do. Looks like he's not going to be able to this time round. But tell you what, he's not exactly dropping off, is he?
Yeah, no, it's impressive from List on those what will be 45-minute old tyres compared to, as we've seen, Noller on his very fresh set of tyres. That's the thing to make that strategy work, is being able to keep that car behind. But unfortunately, Noller just a bit too fast for the Durham driver there today.
Yeah, maybe, but obviously as the pit stops move through, we're going to see some reshuffling of positions, and only towards the end will you really figure out who is where. Cam Gold now only 2/10 off the back of Ramley, but Jay List 2/10 off the back of Noller. As I say that, as he makes a move into the Crocodiles, makes his way past Ramley. So there we go. Past the BMW goes Cam Gold, as now he makes a chase for Josh Parrott, 6 seconds up.
Yeah, and we were talking about, as we see the move from Cam Gold here, classic, leaving that inside open, Ramley trying to get that exit as they head towards Cheetahs, but Cam Gold using all the curb there and managing to get past. But one of the things that we were highlighting earlier is the use of pit stops in that battle with Nathan Carey in that pack. Soumanis appears to have managed to jump quite far ahead of Nathan Carey now, using that undercut, about 12 seconds the gap, as we see Carey come out just between Soumanis and Fletcher.
So tell you what, that dive into the pits, almost out of frustration, seems to have paid off for Demetrius. Speaking of dive into the pits, the leader is in. So Harry Spears now in the pit lane, waiting for his car to get that full service. So I wonder what he's going to be doing. Judging by the time he stopped, it looks like he might well be taking tyres, copying mirroring the strategy of Jack Noller. So looking at when Noller is on the track right now, the number 36 is just making his way to Clubhouse now. So far enough back that Harry should be safe and sound.
Yeah, it looks as though Harry has taken those tyres. Yep, 32 seconds stopped. As he pulls away from his box, we know he had a 30-second gap, about 20 minutes ago, so he'll be very comfortably out ahead of the Oxford Brooks driver.
Comfortably out in front indeed. As we look up and down the grid, looks like the field getting a little bit of field spread now halfway through the race. None of the drivers really in direct combat for now, so we're just going to follow Ramley round. Got thrust really into that pack that we were following for B7 unexpectedly, as several drivers either got penalties or gave themselves penalties with accidents there. So Ramley thrust into the middle of the broadcast there.
Yeah, as Cav Bud is our final driver to have not taken that first pit stop. He may be going long. I know that's a popular strategy. Perhaps trying to. I know it was something that I used to do was see how many laps I could lead by going long, but Harry Spears' pace is just relentless today. So, unfortunately, Cav Bud not able to get that laps led tally from this race today. But he seems perfectly comfortable on these tyres in the car. So I imagine he may just keep carrying on until he needs to stop.
Yep, just got to settle in now. Try not to get tunnel vision and carry on, as it were. So here comes Oliver Fletcher behind him as well, trying to make his way through. As we have a bit of is that combat there? No, I don't think that is. That's just lapping cars, isn't it? As Mushtaq and I think that's Faruqi in the number 30 McLaren. As now we are on board with Jimmy Lin, also trying to make his way past Mushtaq. Mushtaq not diving out the way, as of course he doesn't need to. All he
As
needs
we
to
see,
do is
Faruqi has another moment similar to what we saw with Jack Noller earlier in that McLaren going through Sunset, and yeah, Jimmy Lin managing to close up with Mushtaq getting involved there. As this is indeed a battle for position. 3/10 now between the two McLaren drivers.
Yep, close right up after that mistake from Faruqi, but also we have our first drivers complete his 2 stops, but unfortunately, List has incurred a stop, go 30. So that's another driver from that segment incurring a stop, go 30. So he's going to be dropped back to that pack from previously again. At this rate, is everyone going to get one? Are we going to get everyone dropping back just to get the same battles we were in the middle of the race? Who knows? As we move back towards this little battle between Lin and Faruqi. 2 McLarens duking it out for position.
Yeah, and I think it was once again that marker board with the speed limit going into the pit lane was removed by Anna Langsdale-Foster very early in the race, and it appears to be catching a few people out. It's a tricky braking zone. You want to try and maximise the speed, as we see Jimmy Lin trying to maximise the speed on the exit of that final corner, but I think maybe a little bit too far back. But depending on the wing levels of these two cars, you know, identical cars, different setups, different drivers, we'll see what happens between the two of them.
This is the thing, even if you put 2 drivers in the same car, their performance, their style, setup, they're going to vary massively. So you're going to get some interesting differences in here. As Lin's really closing up now to the back of Faruqi as we make the run up to barbecue. So going to follow this for a few more laps, I feel. It looks like he's going to be close enough, you know, barring any mistakes, to probably set up a move a bit further in the lap. Not many places to pass right now, to be honest, unless you're really close. So he's going to be focusing, I think, on getting sort of right on the tail of the McLaren and waiting.
Yeah, one thing you can do through Sunset is maybe try and make your opponent a little bit more nervous. They get slightly worse run through that corner, and then you can set up a move going into Clubhouse. But yeah, Umar Faruqi not having the issues that he had on the previous lap through Sunset, so able to stay ahead of Lin for a few more corners at least.
Should stay ahead for now, although it looks like Lin might get a decent run down towards Mineshaft, though jumping up on the curb isn't going to help him too much. Now 3/10 back on the McLaren of Faruqi, 6/10 according to that split, so, you know, not really getting the run he wants down the hill, as I think List has come in, or might be coming in soon to serve their, yeah, there we go, serving their pit stop, as Cav is also coming in to serve his pit stop, so there we go. That's the last of the drivers to serve their first mandatory stop. Cav Bud serving the first of 2 now. As Lin now not really closing too much on the back of Faruqi. So another lap of trying to find any mistakes to be made by the McLaren in front of him.
Yeah, as we see, Cav Bud has actually lost a couple positions there to Lin and Faruqi. With that pit stop, it was a bit of a slow one, a 39-second stop in the box. I don't know whether he's fixing damage. I don't know where he would have picked it up, or whether he just went long on his box and maybe didn't necessarily get the launch. But yeah, some issues there for Cav Bud in the pit stop. But he's showing us down to 5th place now. As I think there we go. It's updated as we've gone through the first sector.
Yep, so he's managed to come out behind Lin, Faruqi, and Noller. So going long. Well, I mean, Noller was always going to come out behind, I guess, but Faruqi and Lin Yeah, looks like going long hasn't really worked out too much for Cav.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he puts less fuel in the car at the end, or whether he can try and use strategy to get back involved. Or, these two could be battling for, the next 40 minutes or so, and Cav could get back into it that way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this battle plays out.
Yep, well, the two McLarens for another lap going almost in formation. 1 and 2 through towards Mineshaft, well, through Mineshaft and now towards the Crocodiles. So, you can see in there, just a good example there on the exit. Different lines by different drivers means that you can get some good variation. That's where we get the battles from. Although thus far, Lin holding position a few tenths back, mostly. I think really the tactic here seems to be waiting for Faruqi to make a mistake. We've seen him get unsettled through sunset before, so that could happen again at any moment, and all Lin needs to do is keep a cool head.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where, that sort of tactic, I guess, is perhaps more powerful than others, where you can sit behind the car that you're trying to overtake and maybe wait for them to make an error, because, the pressure starts to build, as we see Fletcher now just coming out of the pits, a lapped car. This is how Lin got close last time with Mushtaq involved, so we'll see what happens here with Fletcher and how Faruqi navigates the back marker.
Well, this is the thing. You need to be ready to take the initiative whenever you can, as Faruqi there gets wide, presumably in the aero wash or a bit of distraction from Fletch. So they are going to go wheel to wheel now through Clubhouse. Side by side they go. Round the outside tries Jimmy Lin, but looks like he's not quite got the overlap needed to make this an overtake yet. So they're still side by side going the S's, but Lin's got enough of a line advantage now to get out in front. Very nicely done.
That is one of my favourite moves around this circuit, is, you hold it around the outside and you just rely on the car, you rely on your speed through the corners, and Jimmy Lin performing that absolutely perfectly.
Fantastic move. So that brings that battle to its next phase. Faruqi not going to drop off, though. He's going to try to get back in front, take the position back, as it looks like he's going to set up a better line. He's going to try and set up a better line through the Crocodiles. Hope that maybe Lin goes deep, but he doesn't. So he's going to try and set it up the next lap. Fletch coming out the pits to see a battle behind him, and it's still behind him.
Yeah, and we see in the background, it's Faruqi pits now for the second time. We see in the background there, Cav Bud. What did we say? He's going to catch up as these two battle, and he's looking like he's going to try and chase down Lin now.
Well, with Oliver Fletcher in front, he's going to get some traffic. Here comes Cher in combat with Cam Gold. Same two drivers, now about 4 or 5 positions down on where they were fighting earlier. So numerous issues coming a cropper for several of the drivers here. But nonetheless, they continue. 2 V10 powered Volkswagen engine cars. Essentially the same car underneath, just different shells. One more German, one more Italian. I'll leave you to figure out which one's which as we go through the S's.
Yes, Cher's just following Cam Gold here, and Jack Noller is going to be lapping the two of them, so he's going to get involved as well. This is the thing that we see in this championship a lot, is lapped and lapping traffic can certainly get involved in the battles, as we see Cher go a little bit wide, so maybe he's going to let Jack Noller through here, and then could follow the Oxford Brooks driver through when he eventually gets to Cam Gold.
This is the thing, it's often a good idea to let lap traffic or guys who are lapping you through, especially if they're much faster than you, to sort of follow them round, get some good speed off of them, copying what they're doing, and then you can profit massively on that. I mean, I've done that several times. I think it was in Zolder once. I let the leaders through and just followed them round and see what happened, gained a couple positions off that, because often they can disrupt the guys in front of you. But Cam Gold has taken the decision, as we've seen more than once in the battle so far. He's had enough. He's going to go for his second pit stop and try and get out of sync and get some clean running.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where List comes out compared to Cam Gold. Obviously, Cam having the issues earlier with the crash in his eye. He's already overtaken him. But that's sort of the battle of the stop-go 30s is what I think we're going to call it, which is, I think, going to be the battle for 10th in the end. Is Simonis again taking that inside curb? You'd think he'd avoid it a little bit more. Now he's in open space. But those yellow curbs haven't exactly been kind to him so far today.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much need to be taking it, but it seems to be working this time round. But I personally would be terrified if I was him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might be a bit of a... Ooh, Is this for position? Yes,
Yes,
it
it is.
is. But Mushtaq hasn't pitted, but he's still, causing Cam Gold some trouble as he's come out of the pits and thrust straight into another battle. Cam Gold
He just
has,
can't get a
has
break.
yeah. Has there been any of part of this race where he hasn't been in some kind of battle?
Well, he's either been in some kind of battle or facing the wrong way on the track. So, he's really had to keep alert. No chance to fall asleep at the wheel so far in this race. So, Mushtaq there causing Cam Gold to maybe perk up a bit as he thought he was pitting to get out of traffic, comes right into it.
Yeah, as we see List now up behind Ramley after that stop go 30 and different strategies. We see List easy up the inside for the Durham driver. Not too much of a fight from Ramley because at the end of the day it's not their fight. But we see List trying to get back up the order following that stop go 30.
Yep, trying to climb up as the battle of the stop go 30s goes. So, more drivers trying to find their way up the field, having taken their pit stops so far. It's Umar Faruqi, Jason List, Oliver Fletcher, and Cam Gold, who have managed to clear their pit stops for the race. So they're straight running to the end, providing there's no other unforeseen consequences. So we're going to follow the Ferrari round now. Bit more lapping there. Bit of dust kicked up on the exit from two cars there, almost following each other around. So currently not much combat going on.
Yes, it's got to that point in the race. We have it every race it seems, where there's like that lull. Everyone's had their pit stops. Some people are on different pit stop strategies, and we just start to settle in and try and get to the end of the race, see where everything shakes out once all the pit stops have been done. See this Faruqi and Lin battle is going to be interesting to see where Lin comes out after these pit stops, especially with this lap traffic. But currently, big gaps between the drivers. Ramley close to List, but obviously we know that's not really for position. So yeah, it's a case of how do you approach these situations, or have you approached these situations, Michael, when you've been racing before? At this point in the race, what do you do? Do you think about what you're having for dinner, or are you still focused on the race?
Oh, honestly, I get a line from a song stuck in my head, and eventually that causes me to go off at a corner because I forget how to pronounce something. So at this point, I'm just thinking about other things. But you know what? I'm often the guy who goes long. So actually, at this point in the race is usually when I'm in the lead, which is weird. But usually I'm in the lead, and usually technically that's what position. So I'll put a bit of pointless defending to keep myself awake. So I'm just thinking, what do you think Ramley's feeling here? Because he's just had car after car get thrust in front of him or around him, just going, where is everybody coming from? I mean, one penalty after another. He's just had cars show up next to him.
Yeah, he's been involved with a lot of people's races today, just minding his own business, going around as we see Lin once again going wide at the top of that hill there, and it's one of those things you see a lot of people come and go, maybe a bit like a waiter or something at a bar. You see a lot of people come and go, but you don't necessarily have any necessarily meaningful conversations with them. But a difficult thing for the mentality that, but you've just got to focus on your own race, go round, hit your braking markers, and just stay out of the wall really. As we see,
oh well, we have a yellow flag now. That's Nola.
Nola may have hit the funny curb.
Oh no, it was the 30. Sorry, it wasn't the 36. That was Faruqi.
Oh,
he did hit.
Oh,
did
there.
Did he hit the funny curb, or was that just the exit? That's not good for the front of your car. Oh, nearly the rear.
I think we see, it was a similar incident to what we saw from Anna Langsdale Foster earlier. That's Faruqi's race with Lin over. I think it'll be interesting to see whether Lin's informed of that and can see that's happened. But yeah, a very similar incident there. That's the thing with that curb there, is that you avoid it too much, and the outside bites you. You don't avoid it enough, and funny curb will put you straight into the wall.
You know what I'm asking now? Where's Ramley? Oh my! I think he might be coming out near Ramley.
Yeah.
Here's another car. Ramley's going to be going down the pit straight, going, another one's joined us as he comes out just in front of that pack. So there's Oliver Fletcher as Cam Budd gets through there as well as lapping traffic. So once again, a car being thrust back into approximately Ramley's position.
Yeah, and Faruqi's getting a drive through there. I don't know whether that means that they were, they were less over the speed limit going into the pits, or whether that's come from race control. But yeah, another one to add to the list, as we see, I think Ishan Wells, that is in the 301, just going wide into Crocodiles. Not sure what's happened there for them, but yeah, it's a tough day in the pits for a lot of people, and we've still got a lot of pit stops to go. So, like we said earlier, it's calmed down, but you've still got to hit your marks and make sure you do everything properly. Otherwise, you could seriously impact your race.
Yeah, I mean, if you fall asleep for 1 second, this is what I was saying, and exactly what you said. You get it into your head that curb at Cheat is going to kill you, and you try and go wide to avoid it, and you end up on the outside curb, which will kill you. So you got to focus. You can't afford any lapses, especially on this circuit. It's not a street circuit, but as you know, we always have to be aware on those. So we're just going to watch now as not currently anyone in combat. Faruqi's still got a drive-through to serve, which, funnily enough, should actually put him... where is that going to put him? That's going to put him quite behind Mushtaq, isn't it?
Drive-through gang. As
Yep.
we see, looks like he did hit the marks properly there, but we'll see on the exit. Yeah, it's been tricky. Oh, and Ramley follows him through. So
he's gonna continue getting an eyeful of all of these drivers. Ramley, of course, going to take his final mandatory pit stop. All the drivers from 1st to 9th still to make their final stops. So going to be some shuffling in the order, I'm sure. Currently, still only 4 drivers having taken their full set of mandatory stops in Cab Bud. Currently in 4th place. That strategy running a bit wide there. The strategy not paying off quite as much as he wanted to in this phase, having lost the position to Lin so far.
Yeah, I think that gap has come down a little bit since the pit stops, but I'm not sure how their lap times have differed over the last however many laps to see whether that gap is coming down, because like we said, Cav has shown some great pace throughout this weekend in air quotes so far. So will he be able to close down the McLaren driver up ahead?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? But still all to play for in this race. I mean, 25 minutes to go. This is what you might refer to as a sprint in ACC terms, as you said. It is a sprint as far as real racing goes, but it is one of the longer single stint or single driver formats that you can see. Generally, it's. I mean, an endurance stint is usually what, an
2
hour
hours?
or less, 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, an hour stint, but yeah, usually 2 hours in the car in any one time. But yeah, so it does get to the point where you're like, oh, this is getting to the end of where I'd like to be.
Yeah, it's when you start getting tunnel vision that it really starts to set in. When you don't see the braking markers anymore. You start focusing on what's directly in front of you, and you just got to keep your eye on the ball, as it were. As Cab Bud now serves his final pit stop, so he's going to try and undercut Lin there for the podium positions. Currently, we're looking at Umar Faruqi, who's not far off Mushtaq, but once again, Mushtaq yet to make a stop, so he's not really in combat here. Although, I know what I would do. I'm bored at this point in the race. I might as well try and have a bit of a battle with somebody.
Yeah, we've seen Mushtaq get involved with a few different battles so far in one way or another. So interesting to see what he does here. I'm not sure he'll be fighting it too hard given the pit stop strategy, but you never know. 2 McLaren drivers. It'll be interesting to see. He's not necessarily. Ooh, was that Faruqi actually in the back of the number 12 McLaren, or
I think that was
they
just a
avoid
stutter,
it?
but he's going to get past anyway. So yeah, a bit of a stutter there, causing us to suddenly perk up a bit. But all fine right now.
Yeah, indeed. As I think we saw a couple laps ago, as obviously Josh Perrott comes into the pits now. Let's hope he hasn't sped this time, as he's got a decent chance of a top 10 here, perhaps, depending on what happens with him and Fletcher. I think List will probably easily get him. But yeah, we were talking about that lapse of judgment, a lapse of concentration earlier. So Manis actually went off the track a couple laps ago and has had Carey close up about 10 seconds to him, but yeah, I don't think for Carey that's that's going to end up in any kind of position, sadly.
No, not really. But you know what? Nathan has so far held it nicely. I always love watching the cars turn in for the S's there. It's such a sudden lurch, and you're amazed how these cars can hold it. But you know what? Yeah, the number 10 BMW there, the MCY Design Team X10 BMW, managing to hold itself. Nathan, piloting it with pretty good skill. Everyone behind him and everyone who's tried to assault his position has had some sort of a problem, and he's just carried on.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want to give him the commentator's curse. So I'm, touching the wood on my desk. So hopefully we don't taint him with that. But yeah, like you say, Nathan Carey managing to keep it out of any trouble so far and steer that boat of a car in between the white lines.
I like how it's the BMW now that's being referred to as a boat of a car. I mean, it's not like the Bentley's lost the title, but it's good to see we've got some company up there.
Well,
as we have a cluster here, 6, 7, and 8 have only one stop so far, so we're going to see them coming in any moment as well as we reach 22 minutes to go.
Well, of course, the Bentley is the Boatley. It's never going to have that taken away from it. But the BMW is certainly a big boy. We've seen the memes with the M8 in the past, but I think the M4 is certainly carrying that torch as we look now at Harry Spears in that Boatley. Perhaps that's why he's done so well in the wet in races we've had in the past. But still holding that Simhound Fastest Lap award. We'll be picking up a pair of Simhound gloves, Simhound sim racing shoes, or other Simhound items that you can get for 10% off at BUSR. Sorry, not at BUSR. At simhound.com with the code BUSR10 at checkout.
Gotta get me a pair of one of those gloves. All mine are in tatters now, and he's coming across some lap traffic now. So there's Cam Gold, Oliver Fletcher not far ahead. Those two actually fighting for position if they get close to each other. So could we see Cam close in towards the end of this race? He's got 2 seconds in it, so a tenth a lap will do until the end, and that's very doable in terms of pace difference. Now he can even follow Harry through, so we'll see what happens. Whilst we're on the topic of the Bentley being the Boatley here, I did enjoy, and whilst we're at Kyalami, Jordan Pepper in the 2020 edition of this race, of course, only like 12 cars, I think, at that race. The number 7 Bentley starting off strong and blew one of its cylinders, I think, and he came on the radio as if to reinforce the fact that the Bentley's a boat, and just went, "We've lost a boiler, boys." So, the car a ship in more way than one as he really comes across Fletcher. Who goes wide? That's going to compromise him. So you know how I said he only needs a tenth a lap for Cameron Gold. He's gonna need a lot less than that now. So going too wide there from the Royal Holloway Lamborghini to try and let Harry Spears through. He's going to have to go defensive now, presumably, or hopefully he can loiter on the corner, but he doesn't. So that's going to open up the run for Cam Gold a bit. But you know what? It's going to be risky if he tries anything here, and he won't, because he is too far back. No death on the curb this time.
Yeah, both of the drivers doing well to get through there without having an instant. A bit aggressive there from Harry Spears. Maybe not necessarily planned on going for a dive on Fletcher there, but yeah, obviously compromising Fletcher's race quite a bit with that going slightly wide. But fortunately for him, Cameron Gold not able to capitalise just yet.
No, not quite. So we're going to continue round here on another lap. He's only 8 tenths back though, so Cam Gold got that fresh motivation to chase after his fellow Lamborghini driver. Looking at the grid now, most people, or at least maybe half of the guys, it's difficult to tell when they're all split up, taking their mandatory stops. Still to take their final stop is Mushtaq Wells, Lee, Spears, Nola, Lynn, Simanis, Carey, Lodge, and Cher. So we've got a few clusters here and there. In the leading half, if you want, have Bud yet to take, is the only one to have taken his stop, as Cam Gold searching all over the track there for any doors through which to go to get past the Royal Holloway driver, but nothing coming so far. Although we could be seeing a decent run here as they're very close into Leocop. He's going to try around the outside and then a cutback, maybe. If the Lamborghini of Oliver Fletcher manages to loiter long enough, he can place his car in such a way he can't get a run. But looks like he has gotten a run, but Fletch doing everything he can to block it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fletch not necessarily putting his car in quite the right position as we see Cam Gold go up the inside here. But yeah, just a little bit too far back, and Fletch keeping giving him a little bit of space on the apex, but not too much, and managing to stay ahead as we go through Cheetahs once again. Both of them getting very close to that curb, but not too close. And Fletch setting up one more lap and seeing Cameron Gold take a slightly wider line, seeing whether he can get a better exit. And yeah, we may see a move going down to the first turn, but it might be a bit aggressive if he does go for it.
Well, they're currently on evens. Fletch might have to go defensive as... Oh, he doesn't. Oh, he makes a very late move to defend there. Maybe just pointing at the apex under braking. So that's blocked off any attempts from Cam Gold to go down the inside there, although they're very close indeed. Not close enough, really, to try and go wheel-to-wheel into Barbecue. But as we go round another sector, Fletch having to fend off another attempt on the position from Gold.
Yeah, and we're saying, you know, Cam Gold looks a little bit far back there to go for a move into turn one, but if anyone's going to do it, it would be Cam Gold. He's got the fastest speed in the speed trap at the minute, and that is just after that kink on the main straight. So, you know, an extra 2 kilometers on Fletch, so maybe he's running a little bit less downforce, maybe he's just got a slightly better exit. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these two cars perform throughout the lap. By the looks of it, it does appear like Fletcher does have a little bit more speed through the faster corners. So maybe Cameron Gold has trimmed out that wing, as we see once again a carbon copy almost of last lap.
Yep, although this time Fletch is once again aware of the fact that Cam's going to have a run, so he's going to move across the track to block him off. This time, you should be aware that Cam's going to try the inside, and he is, so he's going to stay to the right to block him off. That might compromise him, though, as Cam gets a nice cutback there. Fletch comes back wheel to wheel. Cam's going to have the inside here. Wonder what's going to happen, and he does make his way through. But it's not over yet, although Fletch running a bit wide there. He's going to try again on the inside at Ingwe. Oh, they're going to go wheel to wheel through the final corner. Now Cam's got the lead into the main straight, but cuts right across the track to get a nice run through the kink. Fletch, having saved a bit of distance there, you know, might close up a little bit, although it looks like Cam's made it stick for this time.
Oh, as he goes for a sort of a half move there, Fletcher. I think that might just be his line, though, pointing towards that apex, just like I taught him. As we see Faruqi going past Perret, as this is a battle for position.
Very
yeah,
wide, though. Very wide.
Faruqi, yeah, going very deep into that first corner, not able to make that stick. And Perret surviving another lap.
Yep, managing to survive another attack on his position. Behind Faruqi on track is Dimitris Samanis, not involved in this battle, but once again, we're seeing the same cars together, but not necessarily in the same positions. So a little bit of thinking required whenever I'm calling out who's battling who. So the two battles going on right now really are going to be between Faruqi and Perret and Gold and Fletcher. So we're going to keep an eye on both of those and see what happens. Looks like Josh has managed to fend off the McLaren for the time being. Is that a penalty for Jack Noller? That is a penalty for Jack Noller. He's at 5 seconds on the timing screen, so I wonder why that is. We're going to follow around the cars again as Faruqi renews his attack on Perret. So we're going to have a look at the reasons for these penalties. As I think, yeah, so Jack Noller made contact with Josh Perret as lapping him. So that's the reason for that 5-second penalty. That's going to, you know, he wasn't really close enough to Harry Spears to make a difference, but that's going to hamper any ideas of a final assault, really. Yeah,
I mean, it might mean that he doesn't take tyres on his last pit stop to go for a fast lap. I don't know whether he had that gap anyway, but yeah, it's certainly not going to be helping.
He's going to try again.
Faruqi's tried it again, and he's gone not so deep this time, but still a little bit deep. Will Josh be able to get the cut back on him and get up the hill a little bit faster? Going into Barbecue, he's gone the wrong way there, but ooh.
Murdered the curb. He's not going to have a good run, but Josh goes deep, and Dimitris is on the scene now as well. So he's going to be wanting these two to get out of the way. He's not like he's really under threat from anybody. Has 3 seconds back, but oh god, that might actually hold him up. Now they're going wheel to wheel into Sunset. So Dimitris going to try and get through this pack as much as he can.
Yeah, as Samanis manages to get past Perret and put that gap between Faruqi and the UE driver. So I think that could be the end of Perret's defence there, sadly. But yeah, unfortunate that it was all just everything seemed to happen at once, and I think Perret might have not necessarily placed the car perfectly where he should have there.
Yep, well, this battle's going to continue for a while. Looking at Josh Parrott, he is, well, he's not too far back from Faruqi now, but it's almost a 1-2, one after the other of who's on what lap. So we have Faruqi and then Simonis, and then they're defending respectively from Parrott and from Bud. So, everyone's got somebody in the way or is in the way of somebody.
Yep, and we've got another stop go 30. Yay! It's Ishan Wells this time who has come out the pits in the last couple laps and has picked up a stop go 30 along with many of his fellow drivers today. Tricky pit lane entry, as it seems. So yeah, a rough day for the drivers back in the second half of the field.
Speaking of tricky pit lane entry, bit of information for one of our retirees this race, Anna Langsdale-Foster. McLaren took enough damage that she couldn't actually make the left-hand turn into the pits. 1.5 minutes of repairs. Ouch.
Yeah, it was a big hit as we saw Faruqi take a similar hit. So Faruqi was lucky to not have that quite as badly as Anna Langsdale-Foster did. But yeah, once again, that tricky corner of Cheetah is catching a few drivers out today.
No cheating on that corner. Anyway, we're going to move through with Cab Bud, the only one of the top 7 runners to have finished his pit stop as Perica goes wide there, kicking up a lot of dust into the face of that BMW. Big enough grill that it's going to ingest some of that, I'm sure. So we're going to keep going around this race as all the combat's taken a bit of a lull in the battles up and down the track.
We see, I think the closest people on track at the minute, Josh Lodge, is within 1.5 seconds of Jason List, but that appears to be the only sort of close battle on track at the minute. So yeah, it'll be in, I think we've got a few more pit stops to do yet in these last 10 minutes. We'll see whether anyone comes out into a battle in it for a sort of a proper short, sharp sprint to the line. Cav Bud will be keeping an eye on where Jimmy Lin comes out after his pit stops. I think Simanis, he's within 2.2 seconds, so he should be ahead of Simanis, provided he doesn't make any errors, as we head into the final 10 minutes now.
What I've noticed is, upon closer inspection, the BMW is one of the few GT3s I've seen that doesn't have dive planes on the front. That's interesting. Anyway, bit of technical corner there as we go through turn 2 with these guys, Crowthorne, the hairpin at the end of the main straight, Josh Parrott having made way for Cav Bud. So, yeah, as you said, we're going to see maybe some short, sharp sprints towards the end. We've still got 7 drivers yet to take their final stop with 10 minutes to go, so they're going to come any minute now. Several drivers in the pits, actually, looking at it. We've got the number 12, so that's Mushtaq and Wells in the pits. Wells, Ishan having his stop go 30 to serve.
Yeah, it's, again, I want to see where Kerry comes out. I want to see where Cher comes out in that sort of ahead of that stop go 30 battle. How they compare to Cam Gold. We've seen them battling throughout the race, and then the other one to keep an eye out on is Lin and Cav Bud. Lin appears to have taken tyres at their previous stops. Obviously, we're not going to see anyone taking tyres now, but it'll be interesting to see what the gap is when he comes out of the pits.
Well, these last stops, I'm guessing, are going to be splash and dash, so there's not going to be much to do. They're just going to have a straight run to the end. Lin now making his way through those corners there. So here we have Faruqi closed up to the back of Oliver Fletcher now. Oh, that's Fletcher in the wall hard.
Yeah, and we've seen them playing with fire a little bit with that curb, and hoping that Fletcher doesn't get beached there. We've seen it be an issue before, but yeah, we see them coming through Crocodiles and head towards Cheetah. And will it be the inside curb? Will it be the outside curb?
Inside.
It's the inside. That's the first inside curb hit we've actually had that's caused an incident, which is interesting to see. But yeah, unfortunate for Fletcher, and he actually carries on. He's not going to stop. Yeah, I think the gap to Mushtaq is big enough that it's not going to make a difference for him to stop. At the minute,
you can see how sluggish the car is now, though.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
The front grip, it just doesn't want to turn anymore.
So we've seen, those who have come through the pits and not stopped. Cav Bud, I'm bringing you the information now, so listen up. Cav Bud, when he came in for his pit stop, he was stopped for 9 seconds and was in the pits for 33 seconds. Now, Jimmy Lin is currently 26 or so seconds ahead of Cav Bud. So he will probably be taking less fuel. I think the shortest fuel stop you can take is 3 seconds, and that's the equivalent of 1 litre. So we'll see what happens with Lynn. We saw it in Zolder with this strategy. How much fuel does Lynn need to take to get to the end of this race? Obviously, the more the time comes down, the less fuel he'll need. So will we see Lynn come out ahead of Cav Bud, and will Cav be able to counter whatever Lynn comes out with?
Yeah, indeed. We're going to have to see as things unfold through this race now. We've got 4 drivers remaining not to take their stops. As Cher comes out the pits, so we've got Nola with his 5-second penalty, then Lynn, Simonis, and Kerry yet to stop for their final splash and dash. So here's Cher making his way around in the Hearty Sports car. Nice split livery there. Going round 2 different sides of the car. Pick which one you like the most.
Which one do you like the most?
I enjoyed working on the white side more because I was able to play with the textures, because the base paint of that car is black satin metallic paint, so I was able to play with the white side a bit more. Anyway, bit of livery insights there for you. Yeah, I mean, ooh, was that a wide going wide there from Lodge? Yeah, I think it was. So that's given Cher maybe a bit of impetus to try and catch him with 6 minutes to go. In front of him is some lap traffic. That's the Mercedes of Lee. Cher now closing right up to him. So maybe the Mercedes there, you know, throwing Lodge off as he... Oh, big slide there, it looked like, going through the turn. So, again, Cher getting that impetus, seeing mistakes in front of him to try and close up with 6 minutes to go. So, following them around now, it's Crocodiles, and, you know, Cher gonna try and maybe eke some mistakes out of Lodge. You know, just being in someone's mirror is usually enough to start getting into their head. It was a bit of outside curb there. I thought almost started thrusting him into the wall, but you know what? It was just him moving onto the racing line. Maybe I shouldn't be so quick to conclude. But here we go, 5/10 back. Looks like Lodge has not got a very good run into the first braking zone. He goes a bit defensive. Don't really think he needs to do that from that far back, but you know, that's going to cost him time on the line. Cher's really closing up to him now.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously one of those battles for position that we're seeing near the end of the race. They've all come together. So Cher's shown good pace throughout this race. So yeah, that rhymed. So it'll be interesting to see whether he can get past Lodge in these closing stages now.
2 commentators already starting to go delirious and make puns. I wonder how the drivers are feeling. It's 5 minutes to go in this race with Nathan Carey now in the pits, so we'll see where he comes out. Don't exactly know what his current state is, if he's stopped or not. He is stopped, I think. So we'll have to see, as Cher now closing right up to Lodge, and they're going to go wheel to wheel into Leocop. Lodge has got the inside, which means that he can afford to get a bit punchy on the brakes. And looks like he is, so they're going to run wheel to wheel. Cher doesn't have the room to make that cutback, so now it's a straight plunge down towards the mineshaft. Here we go. These are the late battles I was wanting to get, as Cher slightly in the middle of the track to maybe discourage Lodge in the middle of the track to try and discourage Cher from anything, and same there, moving to the right hand side under braking to try and discourage anything fun going through the Crocodiles. Into Cheetah, hopefully neither of these guys hit any of the curves, not too much. Yeah, we're all good. So, on to another lap. We're going to get some good fighting again.
Yeah, as we see Lynn coming into the pits now. I thought it was going to be closer with Nola, but it isn't. But yeah, Lynn in the pits now. We'll see where Cav Bud comes out in comparison, as we see these 2 drivers that we've been following for the last lap go past the main straight. Will Cher go for a move? He's not too far back, but yeah, just covering it off from Lodge there. But Lynn's got moving again and is out of the pits.
I think he is ahead of Bud quite securely.
He is. He's 5 seconds ahead. So yeah, that shorter pit stop, I think, playing into his hands. Yeah, 4 seconds quicker in the pit stops and 5 seconds ahead out on track. So yeah, that we see that strategy that we've seen between, you know, different drivers going long and spending as little time in the pits as possible, and it's paid off for Jimmy Lynn today.
Paid off indeed, but we're still getting an ongoing fight here for 8th position. Cher only 1/10 back on the McLaren. McLaren running wide there, but also the Audi. So we're still getting a bit of fighting going on here. Still anything to play for. 3 minutes left to go. Looking up and down the grid, this is the closest fight we've got, so we'll stick with it. Up to Learcop they go. The McLaren in the middle of the track, trying to discourage Cher from taking any liberties with his lines, trying to make a move, and it seems to be working. Not quite the run he wanted.
Yeah, slightly wider line from Cher, which you may think is slightly quicker, but it just doesn't seem to be here. As you know, you take that tighter line, it's a shorter track, and you still get a good exit. So we see Cher trying every single different line in the book to try and get past Lodge as we head into the final 3 minutes, 2 minutes into this race.
Yep, and all very wide there. Lots of bouncing along the curbs for the Audi of Cher as we go on to another lap. Only the last handful now to go. Wide on the exit there as well. So he's really pulling everything out, trying to get every advantage he can and opening every corner up. He's got a decent run on the McLaren this time. Don't think he's close enough to make a move, but he's going to try it maybe. No, tucks back in as Lodge moves across the track on his line to try and discourage anything. But you know what? Discourage him it has not. They're going to go wheel to wheel now through to barbecue. Careful of that inside curve of the Audi. Not close enough.
Yeah, I think Lodge just not quite giving Cher the space that he wanted on the outside there, so had to back out as they went into the second of those two sweeps. As all Cher's literally trying everything to get past Lodge. Was there contact there? I don't think so.
I don't think that was contact, but that was very much on the limit of what you can do for defense from Lodge. I don't think it was reactionary, so it should be okay, but I can't imagine that's going to be, you know, very nice for Cher to see a car darting around in front of him. So we're going to continue on here through the S's, dropping back a little bit, but still everything wide open with 1 minute to go.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point when we're in these battles where you start to think, where's the leader on track? How many laps have I got? And I'm trying to see where the leader is on track.
Right behind
just behind them, so they
wheel to wheel now. Yep,
they will get that extra lap,
down
but Cher has managed to get the move done earlier than maybe he thought. As
he's managed to get the move done, but Lodge is really looking for it too as they come wheel to wheel again. On the brakes, Lodge is a bit later through Crocodiles, so they're going to try and continue this battle for a bit more. Lodge is going to be thinking the leader's right behind them, so they're both desperate to stay in front of him and get as much racing time as possible. Well, maybe Lodge is now desperate for it. Cher is thinking that the leader should catch them as soon as possible.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see whether Cher uses any tactics here or whether he's just going to try and drive off. Harry Spears has been lapping about 4 seconds faster than them, and he has just started that final lap of the race. So will he get past either of them, both of them, none of them? We'll see.
We'll see indeed. Looks like Lodge has lost a bit of ground on Cher this time round, not as close as they were before. So I think he's going to be getting desperate maybe in the next few seconds. Going to be hoping that Cher makes a mistake somewhere in order to stick his nose in.
Yeah, I think Cher's managed to pull away now as we see the timer hit 0. Harry Spears doesn't seem to be catching them too fast. Oh, as we see Ramley and Mushtaq battling as Mushtaq's on the grass.
Goes very far out on the grass. I thought he was going to spear into the BMW there, but no, far enough back to avoid it as Nathan Carey watches that unfold right in front of him. Lodge now, wide there. He looks like he's made mistakes and he's dropped it. No. So his assault on P8 has ended, I think, unless something happens to Cher. Anything, of course, can happen these last few kilometers. Ramley still pretty close to, Mushtaq pretty close to Ramley there. But looks like the battles are tying themselves up and down the grid. So the white flag is out, and here's the leader coming through the final few corners. He's got battles right in front of him as he comes through. He's thinking, do I? Maybe he's thinking, do I catch these guys and end it? No, I mean he could, but I think at this point he's just interested in finishing the race once again from lights to flag. Very close there to the McLaren as some of Max's signature oval noises come up there. As we get towards the last lap of this race, Harry Spears takes another win nearly into the end of the pit wall there at the end of the race. So another domineering performance as we go behind him. The car's filing through. Lynn manages to finish on the podium. Cap Bud, nice finish in 4th place. Not the podium that he started in, but still a very good performance indeed.
Yeah, certainly looks happy with 4th as he celebrates with a little wiggle across the line. And Faruqi's already straight back to the pits. But Josh Lodge very much not back to the pits, seeing We see Cher catch up with Ishan Wells here. Will he play a part in this final battle? I think that's the only hope that Josh Lodge has, sadly, as we see them, trying to just reach that checkered flag now. Cher, Ishan Wells being very kind there, and well, to both of them. So no dramas there, as Cher's put in a solid performance today, despite that stop and go penalty. It was one of many. So, but yeah, still a top 10 and a solid performance for both these drivers, in fairness.
Well, he's managed to make his way back up to approximately, the same sort of region where he was before the stop go. So, pretty good performance there as more cars come across the line. Nathan Carey fending off several attempts on his position there throughout the race. Finishes in fifth place. Very nicely done indeed from the MCY Design X10 BMW. So, here we go. Jason List making his way around the final corner. Uh, pretty good race from him. Managed to I think, was he one of the ones who incurred a stop go 30?
I believe so. I think he was the first of the stop go 30s. So,
Yeah.
congratulations on that second class win.
Yeah. So very good indeed. As one more driver to cross the line is Ishan Wells, I believe. Yep. And he's no,
You've
Ishan,
not finished, pal.
you need to take the flag, my man. So back onto the onto the circuit, please. As we need to finish this race off. Bit of a traffic jam in the pits there, as he forgot that he needs to finish the race.
Yeah, a bit of
Oh,
a reverse Jensen Button moment there for Ishan Wells, but a nice way to finish the race. Congratulations to everyone who finished. Unfortunate for Anna Langsdale Foster, we saw the damage earlier, but yeah, that was a cracking race. I feel like we had action almost all the way throughout. There was that slight lull around Hart with about half an hour to go, but yeah, that was Kyalami produced exactly what I thought it would. So what a race!
no, I only managed to get one anecdote about the Bentley boiler in, so you know what? That was a pretty good race. Didn't manage to turn this into a Conversation Street episode midway through. Battles all the way through, and yeah, almost a second class forming there with the stop go 30 guys. Wouldn't be a BUSR race without those highlights, I'm telling you. Especially someone forgetting to take the checkered flag. Oh, that's gold. Another good round in BUSR. That's round four done. We're going to be talking to a handful of the drivers short enough, but for you, who I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna discount Harry Spears from this because that was dominating and as usual, very good performance. Other than the winner, who would you pick as your driver of the day if we were to have that?
I think Nathan Carey put in a solid performance, like you said, throughout the broadcast. He managed to fend off a lot of challenges, and like we said, he kept it on the track where others didn't. So, you know, we've got to commend him for that. But also, Cam Gold was getting involved there a lot more than we see him, and yeah, Joe Share, sorry, was also involved in a lot, and especially in that last battle at the end. So yeah, it was certainly a lot of action up and down, and have to thank those guys for making our job a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, thanks to the drivers for making it fun. For me, yeah, I think I'm going to go with who I said earlier, Nathan Carey. Fantastic performance. Not just saying that because I title sponsor his car, but you know what? He was under attack throughout basically the entire race. Well, the entire first half of that race, and every driver who came across him wasn't able to get past. Or if they did, they didn't last very long before making mistakes. So consistency and good racecraft. So pretty good job there from Nathan Carey, the Coventry driver
Yeah,
bringing
of course.
it home in a nice position.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. And you said we discount Harry Spears, but we do have to mention that he did get the Simhound fastest lap in the end. So well done on that, Harry Spears, once again taking that award and picking up another lot of Simhound merchandise.
did he ever lose the lead, or is that a Grand Chelem?
That was yeah, led from pole position, led every lap, fastest lap. The closest that someone got was Cav Bud in those first pit stops. He was within 3 seconds. But other than that, Harry Spears in a world of his own today. A stellar performance, another stellar race from Harry Spears.
Yep, good stuff indeed. So we're gonna get ready. The drivers all debriefing, so we're gonna get to talk to a few of them. And I mean, whoever we talk to, there's always gonna be questions. There were moments throughout that race. I mean, lots of drivers learning the hard way at Cheetah.
Yeah, indeed. It's not a fun corner, especially when you get it wrong. But yeah, a few drivers getting caught out there today, but a lot of drivers not getting caught out. So well done to them. And just unfortunate for those who were caught out by the funny curb, as it's known around these parts.
When did it get that moniker? I've not I've not been paying much attention, clearly.
I think that was after our first race there a few years ago.
Ah,
It was yeah, funny curb just became the name because it is the funny curb.
funny curb indeed. Well, we've got some drivers lined up for interview, so one by one, we shall get them in here to talk. So they're all ready. Let's have a chat to the driver who managed to fend off several attacks on his position. It's Nathan Carey from the BMW MCY Design X10. So, Nathan, good job. Not the dive bombing Kyalami special we were, or at least
No.
I was expecting, but
Well, I mean, I did turn one.
yeah, but you know, how did that feel? I mean, we were just saying every driver who attempted to take your position on track either didn't get past you and binned it, or got past you and then subsequently binned it, or
I
got
know.
a stop go 30. So you know, must have been fun seeing that.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was confident because I think I saw Jay Share overtook me, and then a few laps later I saw him facing the wrong way on track. I was like, all right, thanks for the free position. So yeah, no, I'm very happy overall.
Yeah, as Mike was alluding to there, you managed to fend off a lot of drivers today. Uh, is that something you've been working on, your defensive driving, or was it just something that is particular to Kyalami that you've managed to succeed in today?
Um, to be honest, I've had years of sim racing experience when it comes to defending. Not so much the overtaking, but lots of defending practice in my time. So yeah.
Well, of course, the first time I ever spoke to you was after I got stuck behind you with the damaged car at Zandvoort. So,
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
your defensive game is indeed pretty good.
Thank you.
You know, the other thing is, I'm sure you might have noticed, all the guys around you ended up around you again, but a lap down. It must have been funny seeing
Yes.
all the cars coming. You know, it's all the same guys around you, but they're nowhere near you in terms of the positions.
Yeah, so I saw Josh. I think he binned it, didn't he, at the funny corner, and then he went for his drive. He went for his pit stop, and then I saw a lap later. I was like, why is Josh next to me? It's a very slow stop, and then I saw him on the relative. It was a stop go 30. So I was like, oh shit. And then I saw, was it Cam? That also got a stop go 30.
I mean, there's a whole
Or
list.
yeah, well, it was someone, and then I was like, you know what? I'll make sure to go very careful on the entry. So I literally broke even before the curbing. So I made sure to be extra careful when it coming into the pits.
Well,
Fair.
strong performance indeed.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations, Nathan. It's thanks for coming to talk to us.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, so we had you know, several people from that pack come in, and we have mentioned Cameron Gold, and we are going to have a chat to Cam Gold now, coming into the commentary booth. Welcome, Cam. That was you were part of quite a fun pack that was forming there of as we call it, the Stop Go 30 class.
Yeah,
I,
well, I didn't get one of those. I just gave myself 30 seconds of damage
no,
to join them.
yeah, you managed to somehow get one without getting one. So yeah, how did that feel? Because that must have been terrifying. I think it was Cher who came hurtling towards you whilst you were facing backwards.
Yeah, I held my brakes and they did a good job of avoiding me, which is what needs to happen there. But that was a bit frustrating. But honestly, I had a good fun race anyway, so it wasn't the end of the world. I had some good battles with Lodge and Fletch, which I hope the stream caught because that was really good fun.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, we saw all of it. So
Yeah,
Good.
you
yeah,
were
that was
on
some good
you're on
action there.
you're on stream an awful lot today, Cam. What would you say was your standout moment, your highlight of your race that you had
Probably
today?
going side by side with Fletch into funny corner. I'd say that was. I was talking to Cav, who also had a very good race today, but I was talking to Cav during the race and said it was very nervous going into that corner. So I'm glad
Yeah,
he left me the room because that could have been bad.
two Lamborghinis going into Cheetah there was yeah, certainly heart in the mouth moment for us in the commentary booth, and I'm sure you two out on the track.
Yeah, I'm grateful to him for not killing me, or me not killing him. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
a fantastic, fantastic day as well. Good racing. You know, obviously discounting the artificial penalty you gave yourself, but you know what? It was fun.
It was good
Anyway,
fun.
yeah, it was. I hope it was good fun to drive, and it was good fun to watch. So thank you for giving us a bit of a show. We're gonna move on now to the third podium finisher in the race, and on strategy managed to take it from qualifying behind him. So Jimmy Lin, nicely done on the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, I mean, how did that go? Well, were you planning this strategy to sort of try and undercut Cav, or was that sort of just as it came to you in the race?
Um, Honestly, like throughout the first stint, I started like losing all my pace. But once I started getting a grip of myself, I started catching back up to Cav. But once I caught up to Cav, I realized that he was making loads of mistakes. Because I feel like he was getting pressured. So I felt like the best way to overtake him was, instead of overtaking on track, try to go into pits and undercut him. So that's how it really came about.
Yeah, it was a strong strategy that we saw today, and yeah, Cav was getting involved in quite a lot of sort of little battles here and there, and I think obviously you recognise that. And so how much fuel? I'm always interested when we see those late pit stops. How much fuel did you end up putting into the car in that final pit stop? Because I think you were stopped for just the 5 seconds.
Yeah, I put in 1 liter, and I had like a really good stop as well. I stopped perfectly on the mark as well. So yeah, I was really happy with that.
Yeah, well, an absolutely excellent performance today. Perfect strategy, brilliant speed, and personally my favourite move of the race. I think it was around the outside of Faruqi going through the S's. So yeah, big congratulations on. I think this is your first podium of the season.
It's second. I had the
Second.
one in Brands.
Oh well, I was clearly not paying attention enough there. But yeah, congratulations on your second podium then of the season, and yeah, we hope to see you up again there soon. Thanks
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you.
Well, that was a fun race. We got more than we bargained for, I'd say. We got several people getting penalties, and that opened it up. I mean, at first I thought the penalties were going to shut down some of that racing we had in the mid pack, but it turns out they all wanted to be together anyway and got subsequent penalties or damage that put them all back together. How nice! What a race it was at Kyalami. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been an excellent end to the first half of the season. So yeah, I think by far the best race of the season so far. So hopefully we'll see more action like that as we head into the second half of this GT3 Spring Championship.
Yeah, still all to play for in the championship. Of course, here we have Harry Spears and Jack Noller duking it out for the title. It's going to be a back and forth to the end, I think, with them. It's been a pretty good race.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry taking the lead back off of Jack after these 4 rounds. So yeah, we'll see whether Jack can close up that gap that he had today a little bit as we go into the next race. But yeah, Harry looking relentless once again. So we'll see what happens as we head into the last part of the season.
That we will see indeed. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for a fantastic race in the BUSR Spring Championship in ACC. Halfway through the season now, still more to come. Of course, in our other series, you can catch it in a few days. On the 5th of March, we're going to Mexico with the Formula One series, and then more action to come thereafter. So, been a pleasure with everyone tonight. What a wonderful race we've had. On for more. That's been Michael Yap in the commentary booth,
I've been Max Grime
and we'll see you next time at BUSR.
in Mexico.